Kinda like that, yeah.
Yeah, she's just walking around, just like, "Ooh, look at this. This is good." Just sticking some stuff in there, just mid conversation. She just pulls the hat off and scoops a couple of rolls in, and then puts it right back on without breaking pause in an entire sentence.
Yeah, like, "Ah, this'll be good for later."
She gets partway through, half of them already in, and she asks the person whose plate they were on, "Oh, is it all right? Are you done with this, or can I? Do you want to?"
Not eating those rolls, but they're so good. Then it's fine.
Yeah, they'll be taken care of. I'll give them to the ducks.
Hola.
Hello.
Welcome.
I just declared that Molly Mord is a bit of a food klepto.
We already knew that. If anybody's ever seen the inside of her hat,
Also, I would like to find another hat that would be good for putting over this hat because this hat just doesn't fit her style so much. It's a cool hat, but just
Going for
doesn't
a hat
fit
to
her.
hat. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
nobody will know.
you could always just like put it on your belt. I mean, you don't have to wear it. You can just ball it up and put it in a pocket or
It's a hat.
yeah, I mean it is a hat, but you don't have to wear it. You can just do whatever with it. It's like a sack that looks like a hat.
She'll keep wearing it as a hat.
Okay. I mean, again, remembering the sort of the whole context of it. Apparently, at some point, Arata had used it perhaps to impersonate like some sort of a Santa figure, and was giving out gifts from his hat. It's just yeah, just kind of it's a novelty, but you don't have to wear it all the time. It's up to you.
Oh no, she'll keep wearing it. She enjoys pulling things out of her hat, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's much more convenient that way. I feel like people would be more likely to question it if she pulled like a sack off of her belt and started putting stuff in it, rather than
Mm-hmm.
just taking out her hat and loads it up.
Yeah, exactly. If you're just putting food in your hat, that's eccentric. But if you're putting food in a sack, that's theft. That's too far.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Don't want to be a thief. Just strange and unquestionable. Or questionable, I guess, but I don't want people to question it.
And that's fair.
Well, we as a troupe of characters certainly have nailed strange and questionable behavior.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. Almost there.
Hello.
hello.
Welcome.
How's y'all's week?
Hiring.
Yep.
Yeesh.
It happens.
Oh
We're
yeah.
just a little short on an Aladrin. And everyone remember where you guys are? If I recall, you're on a ship heading up to the island of Elitos. go try and find an Aiden Marsden in a net.
Hopefully.
Yes, indeed. Remembering,
No.
sorry, or rather, if Lee kind of reviews what notes he may have taken or what thoughts that he may have had, you can recall that the somewhere on this island is the family of the mother of Aiden Marsden, and it's just a question of if he's here. The rumor was he was here, and if he is, if he has the net, and if he has the net, getting the net. All pretty straightforward.
Never works out like that, but we'll see.
Well, I don't know why it wouldn't. Should be perfectly fine. No problem at all.
None whatsoever.
Yes. Well, we can give it a few more minutes, see if we get Aldrin, or do you guys want to start now and let him just hit the ground running? It's up to you. I don't like to make people wait for sure, but he is habitually late, so.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me.
Oh, no, what bit?
Yeah, maybe
Oh god,
5 minutes.
your gun is contagious. If we're waiting, I gotta go get something to eat.
Alright. Yeah, it shouldn't be more than a few minutes, hopefully.
Lee didn't get his game snacks like me and Fionn.
I only did. Bye.
Oh, alright.
I just woke up. Whether or not you can argue I'm still asleep is up for debate.
Oh, I'm wondering if I'm still asleep myself.
I feel that.
On the long, several hours spanning trip from the main island, where you were before, the island of Asnella, excuse me, by the way, and on your way over to basically try and find, it's nice. It's bright, clear blue water and sun, lots of sun. It's good. It's warm. The fresh smell of the sea is surrounding you. You can see sandy beaches and crisscrossing trees, and occasionally you see jumping fish in the distance. It's quite a pleasant place. In fact, in terms of where one would spend time, certainly you can see how some would argue that this is a good place to spend quite a bit of it. I don't want to say that it's a paradise, but arguments could be perhaps made. And the crew here of the Argos seem quite well. They're just mostly ignoring you, but they seem friendly. There's jokes being told back and forth. It seems that they're just kind of heading home, and you're just along for the ride. It takes several hours, quite a few miles, and you pass by a couple other islands. First, a real small one within the bay, upon which, or rather in which, the harbor was built that you have departed from. Then you pass by yet another sort of large breaker island. It looks to be maybe a mile long as you pass it. And then breaking out further into a large sea, you see significantly larger islands to the north as you begin to head northwest, passing by several more. And soon enough, the crew says, "Yep, there it is. That's where we're heading," pointing off to an island ahead. As you approach it, it looks to be maybe a mile, mile and a half wide, and they seem to be going towards the southern point of the island. As you get closer, you can see along the long sandy beaches that completely surround this low island, there is a town, and in fact, a lighthouse, which you did not see in the previous town. And Many of the buildings here are more built up than some of the others. Most of the buildings you saw previously were some low, crudely stacked stones. Not to say crude per se, but yeah, not crude, but not certainly not up to par for dwarvish architecture, if they were dwarvish. And many of them were almost stick huts, a lot of thatch roofs and a lot of grass elements. Basically, not really structured. But this island actually has some cut stone buildings. Not many, not a lot. Maybe the first rung or two as a foundation. But quite a few of them are more timbered buildings, more solid. You're not sure if the others were sort of temporary or tourist, but these certainly seem to be much more resilient and strong structures. And soon enough, the Argos pulls into the port, and the captain informs you, whether invites you to depart because you're at your destination. And still no Aldrin.
I have a quick question about, well, maybe two, depending on the answer to the first one.
Sure.
The question is am I still catching sight of fairies out of the corners of my eye?
Oh yeah, and in fact, you see quite a few. They almost look like mermaid fairies, like just kind of splashing out of the water. You don't see splashes, but they're moving as if, like, certainly this would cause a splash. But yeah, you see a couple of fairies that are kind of in the trees sometimes. You see some that are in the water. You saw one riding a gull of some kind. Oh yeah, yeah, you still see fairies.
Okay, cool. Because that was going to be my second question: is what do the fairies of the sea life look like?
They look a lot like some of the others. The color pattern has definitely changed, where before there were significantly more tans and greens. Now there are much more blues, and you think that just kind of reflects that you're just kind of near more ocean. That could be it. But most of them still look to be roughly in the same sort of body shape and proportion, kind of small humanoid forms. Although it's not that they're like the kind of human features that you might expect. They're not like shrunken down people. It looks like they're expressions of people. Like many of them don't have ears. They don't have. Some of them are just a color and a shape. They don't have eyes. They just, a lot of them don't really have full limbs, and they're just moving and dancing and gliding. But some of them are more detailed. Perhaps they just take more pride in their appearance. Go on.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I thought you were taking a.
You're good. You're good.
I wanted to know if anyone would say, "Hey, listen."
None of them do. Yeah. While they may be capable of it, they do not.
It's just I've been watching a lot of a playthrough of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, so I've just got that in mind.
Yeah, that just kind of buzzes in, in those games. But no, they don't seem to be doing that at all. They don't seem, even for the most part, to acknowledge or notice or care that there are other beings around. Some of them seem to almost kind of look curiously, but most of them just seem to be doing their own thing.
All right.
Yeah, and again, it's only Theon that sees them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I figured now that he's a fairy hero, he'd be hearing fairies come to him from time to time and saying, "Hey, listen."
Well, it will be up to him if he wants to be subjected to that sort of behavior.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't, but at least they'll give him information that may or may not be useful.
Y'all are well past the tutorial.
It's like he picks up a mug and a fairy flies over and says like, "Hey, listen, you're supposed to drink that." Or he's already going in the right direction. And it's like, "Hey, listen, go that way."
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't trust me D&D fairies to tell me what the appropriate thing to drink or direction to.
Yeah, I wouldn't count them as obviously trustworthy.
Oh,
Anyway, what do you want to do? Any ideas? Any plans? You're on an island that you think is the right one, in a city that, or rather, a small town that you think is the right one, and
Probably
you know,
start asking around about Aiden.
yeah, you know the name of the guy you're looking for, or at least you're pretty sure you know his name.
sorry, I was just putting some things away real quick. I just got my grocery bags.
Well, I think the first thing is that Beyond would ask Lee. Lee, you said you've met him. Can you give us a brief description of what he looks like, just so we can keep an eye out?
Can I roll for describing in a way that isn't at all useful?
Sure. Is your intention to make it not useful?
My intention is to make it useful, but I don't think Lee would be good at describing what people look like. So I want to roll
Okay.
and see how well I do.
Sure.
What would that be? A wisdom or a charisma thing?
I really don't know. It could be either one, or an intelligence to remember it.
Okay.
Well, Molly's going to be pulling up minor illusion and trying to like build a face off of this description. So she's
Going to sketch artist.
yeah,
that
basically.
would help me a lot, because I actually would have real time. What do you call it? What I can't find my. Okay, there it is. I just scrolled too far down. I couldn't find my character sheet. For some reason, it was just gone.
But you got it now?
I got it now. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't remember what he looks like. I remember he had really good fish lifters. He tan, right, and he had dark colored hair.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's about all I remember from our exchange. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah, he had sort of long hair, but by now he may have cut it. For all you know, he's got a beard. I mean, it's been several weeks, but he seemed mostly clean shaven when you had discussed with him previously.
Molly's going to be asking
Well, go on.
questions. Molly's
Eyebrows, bushy, thin. What are we looking at here?
looking for his eyes. Does he have like a round face or more square face?
I'm imagining she creates like a whole big like screen, like a whole rotation, a whole view of like, okay, is it pick eyebrows A through F? Which one is it? Just going through a catalog of every feature she's ever seen.
I'd be willing to bet that Lee could give a pretty accurate description of what he looked like at the time, not necessarily what he might look like now, because I got it at P.
That's all we need.
Okay, yeah, I think I could probably give a pretty accurate description there.
The end result, just so everyone can keep it in mind. Has anyone seen The Patriot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Think of the British dude, like the bad guy in The Patriot, kind of like that.
Oh.
That's kind of how he looked. He had those sorts of kind of, relatively lean, sharp features, piercing eyes, dark hair, kind of long hair. They kind of like that. But by now, who knows what. But that's about kind of what I pictured.
Nice.
Should I roll to see how well Molly Mort can put this image together?
Part of it is kind of the guidance from Lee, and Lee's roll was pretty good. If you want to roll along with it, sure. but it's certainly primarily balanced on Lee's role, and Lee's role was pretty decent in terms of recalling and describing and going through the sort of features. The end result is something that Lee's pretty sure looks quite a bit like him.
Yeah, since you're doing the like sketch artist thing and like kind of we're going back and forth and checking against it, I think we'd probably be able to get a pretty good description.
Yeah.
Right?
Um, plus you've got like keen mind, so I think you probably have a pretty good handle on it with your really good intelligence and wisdom.
Yeah. If it required like drawing it blind or something like that, sure. But here with the illusion, it's able to be anything you picture, and it's just basically going off of Lee's word, and he can say, no, it's a little bit different, here, a little bit different here. You know, it's pretty much just takes time, but you can certainly make it look exactly like that. In fact, this could be something that you did before you got to the island while on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
These
Okay.
definitely comments that wow, this would be really useful, for investigating crimes and whatnot in the city.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm Lee.
I'm asking because it is a DM question. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know what I have to pursue, but I mean, like as a ranger, my favorite prey is humanoids, so I get advantage on all the tracking and information recalling and stuff that has to do with humanoids.
Mhm.
What but I don't know the specifications of what it would take to begin tracking Aiden. You know what I mean?
In a situation like this, or did you want to say, Lee?
I was gonna say we have his face, and we have where he's probably on this island. We think. I mean, you could always just kind of maybe you know how to ask the right questions.
Yeah, in this sort of a situation, you could, because it's not really a tracking per se. You're sort of looking for the track. That kind of is a bit of a hindrance. And in terms of gaining knowledge about him, you don't have knowledge about him personally, but you
Yeah.
have the possibility, if you find a trail, if in terms of investigating certain aspects, that can lend to it.
Yeah, that's
but-
what I was meaning. Is
yeah.
like, how would I begin to find the track? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
know he's a fisherman, so if we possibly find a trader,
Yeah. Well, okay.
then we might recognize him. You know who he is.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I was just
I'm-
gonna say.
Well, go on.
I was just gonna say a possibility is there's always the classic cliched like tavern whatever, and if you don't know what to do, I mean I think Yonder even said it. I was gonna suggest it. Possibly like we spend some time on the island and roll like some investigations, and
Mhm.
because of your background, maybe we like find a lead talking to people or looking into different places on the island. Like what Ormus said, we could ask the dock workers.
But yeah, if he's well-renowned fisherman, as people say he is,
I figure he'd probably be laying low right now, and these people would probably be loyal to him. But that's out of character. That I think that. So
that's
mean,
if he
let's-
took the precaution.
yeah, let's. I mean, he probably already would know we're here if we're asking about him, but I feel like asking those people would very much make it likely we tip him off.
Guys, I could try scrying on him.
That's even better.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely give Fiona a lead, right?
Well, it depends. If you scry on him and see, oh, he's on an island.
Shit,
Cool.
you're right.
But I mean, yeah, you could absolutely attempt to scry on him, but it's just a question of whether or not that'll be anything useful. But if you scry on him and you see that he's on a dock, well, that gives you something. If you see that he's in a particular, like if he's in a tavern, that gives you something. But if you see that he's in a tent, okay, well, but it's up to you guys.
Too bad we don't have locate person spell.
Yeah,
You do have. Well, go on, Lee.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that sounds like a good plan, but we don't really have any. Well, I was gonna say we don't have anything related to him other than what he looks like in his name.
Well, Lee, you might be aware that you should have a spell called Locate Object. You've used it before.
I have that.
Yeah, and Mollymort, you might have it as well.
I don't remember using that spell. Did we use it at like the docks or something in like the first couple of months?
Yeah,
Okay, I just don't remember using it.
you used it while trying to track down Jareth.
Okay.
It may have been Mollymort. I may be mistaking it, but I
Yeah,
thought.
it's me.
Okay, I apologize. Well, somebody has Locate Object. Just throwing that out there too.
Alright. That could be good. You have a net. It's just got a really small range is all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1,000 feet, right? That's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean I think that's worth a shot. I think that's worth looking into.
This island is only, like I said, it looks to be like maybe 1.5 miles wide, maybe 2 miles long. Like it's big, but it's not super big.
Yeah.
That's assuming he's here.
If we can get a lead on him, locate object would be very, very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Except I don't currently have that prepared.
Nor do I.
Well, I mean, we can spend the day, get some leads. If we get anything good tomorrow, we
Yeah.
can use that.
Uh,
Spend the night at a
hopefully-
tavern.
Hopefully we can lay low enough on this tiny, tiny island that he doesn't run away.
Well, I will put my hat of disguise on and look like a fish.
Well,
I'll be lying low.
On the ride there, can Lee change out of his armor, kind of getting the notice that, hey, we need to lay low, and change into something more inconspicuous?
Sure, if you like.
Alright.
I think Molly might have taken the hint and asked if she should do the same.
Well, he hasn't seen you before.
Well, still, I'm pretty conspicuous with blue dragon scale mail.
Yeah, I think we should all try to be inconspicuous.
As everyone looks at Aladrin and Fion.
Yeah. Fion
Fionn.
probably has experience making himself look relatively inconspicuous.
Don't we have another hat of disguise too? I thought we got like 2 or 3 of them.
Not
I
to
think you
mention,
had 2 of them.
Fionn can use disguise self and has glamour studded armor, so
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to it. I can just like use some skills for hunting or whatever, and just go full camo, hide in
Mhm.
any woodage or whatever.
alright.
I imagine Aldrin's just like, what? And Mark goes, you look really weird.
Aldrin's been in disguise before.
Yeah, but it's just a question of we gotta look inconspicuous, and it's just like, okay.
What if somebody hangs out by the ports to make sure that he doesn't, skip town?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I feel like
Jacob
that should
and
be
Mark.
Lee.
Raise their hand and volunteer.
Alright.
Well,
Like, yeah,
have
we
you
can
guys
look for that guy. We'll just,
seen him before?
You mean that guy that you've never seen? As Mark puts at the magical image conjured by Mollymort.
Yeah, that's what he looks like. Well,
Yeah, I've seen him as much as you've seen him.
Yeah, that's why I was going to suggest maybe Lee sit by the docks.
They shrug.
But if you want to, that's fine.
I do feel like this would be a good job for Aladrin.
yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
All right, we'll stay with Aladrin, says
Yeah.
Mark. Mark says, why? Why? Or rather, Aladrin, is just kind of pleading, like, why do I have to stay with... Okay, I get it. I get
What am I
someone
have to
needs...
babysit?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, fine. So Aladrin will be staying at the docks with the 3 NPCs. And you guys... What do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna disguise myself. I just want to put on my breastplate and have my brown cloak over it that I've worn before.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how inconspicuous that actually makes me look, but I think it's still significantly better than wearing gleaming heavy armor.
It certainly doesn't give off the same image as wearing gleaming heavy armor, but of course it is a practically tropical sort of island, and like you're wearing a heavy cloak. It's not super heavy, but it's one of those things where it's just you still stand out, but it's not the same standing out as full plate.
Would somebody point that out, or would I notice? Or I don't think Lee would really notice unless if he just started to get heat stroke.
Well, I mean, it's assuming that most people just might not even care.
Yeah. All right. I think I'll. That's just my go-to disguise, unless if anybody points it out and says that I should change it to something more fitting. I think Lee will go with that because that's just kind of his go-to disguise.
I feel like Fionn would probably point out that it might be a little non-breathing.
Yeah. Lee turns and is like, "What do you mean? Like just profusely sweating?"
So, any other changes anyone would like to make? Any idea of your actions? What you want to do when you get to the dock?
I'll almost like a ready to action type of thing. When we get within not within sight, but just barely out of sight of like where we need to be, I'll use disguise self because it only lasts for an hour, and I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use it to kind of trying to think of a person.
One of the crew members said, y'all seem to be getting pretty disguised and changing and things. You're not up to no good, are you?
We just don't want to get the wrong kind of attention, We're, it's a small island and we look really weird, and we just don't want to cause.
They're nice enough folk.
Of course.
You pearl buyers?
I don't know what that is.
They're people that buy pearls.
I don't think I've ever bought pearls.
Pearls?
Can I make an insight check to see if that seems like something that means something else?
Sure. He just said they're people that buy pearls. But yeah, you can make an insight check if you like.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
it could mean
pearls
drugs.
is an 8-ball.
27.
Okay.
I rolled a 4.
Judging from the context that when you were getting to the ship, you could see them offloading basically pearls. They're probably just talking about pearls.
Okay.
That amongst the many trade goods of these islands, they include pearls.
Who could I go to for somebody to buy pearls or a pearl from me?
You're asking the crew member?
Yes.
He says, if you're selling pearls here, oof, not a very good market.
Wrong end of the thing? Okay.
If it's a really good pearl, then
It's a really good pearl.
he kind of points behind him and he says, yeah, best place probably would have been back at the sort of main island there.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah. He's now, they do a lot of the import-export controlling kind of deal. Most of the buyers don't bother to go to the islands that are actually doing the cultivating.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Thanks. I'll keep that in mind.
Are they from this island?
The trader?
Yeah.
He says, "No, I'm not from this one. No, I'm from you see that one over there?" And he kind of points directly west.
Lee kind of squints.
Yeah, it's like it's just barely above the horizon, a couple miles away. And he says, "Yeah, so there's that one, and then if you go directly south of that, A couple miles. There's that's where I'm from. Not the first island, but the one after the first island. If you go directly south from there.
You know, this is a little bit of a long shot, but this is the real reason that I'm getting this, not really disguised, but trying to keep a low profile, less low profile than very big shiny armor and a hot, sunny island.
Mm-hmm.
And I do say all that, is we're looking for somebody that we need their help. Somebody named Aiden Marsden.
He nods.
You know him?
No, never met him.
All right. We need to find him and talk to him, but he doesn't really want to talk to us. We're not trying to hurt him or anything. We're not hunting him or anything. We just need to talk to him, but he's not very keen on talking to us.
You
Well,
ever heard of him?
No, never heard of him. But most folks around here, fairly private. If you're trying to find someone who doesn't want to be found, you're probably going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
It might be difficult to find them.
That's kind of been our experience. Oh, thank you though. If it helps ease your mind, we're not up to no good.
We're
It
adventurers.
does. It helps my mind a lot.
That's good, I guess.
Adventurers are nice folk. I never really met too many of them.
We try to be nice.
I'll kind of point at Aldred and I'll be like, "You should hear some of the stuff this guy's done."
Oh, I imagine it. I can imagine it. All those weapons. Algin just says, "Oh, you should have seen him before I got hit by a blast from a dragon."
Would I be able to do an insight based on him saying that he's never met him?
Yeah, sure.
Because isn't he supposed to be like wicked famous?
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I just completely forgot, but that was the point of me asking, have you ever even heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if he really, point out that he's the guy that caught Great Claw.
He's got a 16.
16. Okay. And Fionn, would you like to roll an insight as well?
I did. Mine was a 29.
Okay.
I got a nat 20 on it.
Nice. Neither of you can interpret any signs of deception of any kind.
Wow.
It
Okay.
seems that he's never heard of this guy.
Even after I mentioned that he's the guy that caught Great Claw.
The Great what?
Great claw.
The what claw?
The giant lobster.
The what?
Museum of it in Bacata? Is it Bacata that has the lights?
It's not Mikado.
Tyrannia.
Tyrannia, excuse me. Sorry, we've been.
He say, wait. Does he say Tyrannia?
No, I said
Yeah,
Tyrannia.
okay.
Awesome. We
That
would have
would
called
be
him in that
great.
lie. That would be so fucking funny.
If you want me to stay in character, I will, but it'll involve you guys
No.
not having answers sometimes.
No, that's fine. That was just too perfect and funny. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been something we didn't catch too.
It would have been right up there with the, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But yeah. So, yeah, he doesn't seem to. And Tyrannia? Never been. I heard it's nice.
It is. It is.
I mean,
We've just been traveling a lot. Yeah, well, we're just, we're just gonna try our best to see if we can find him. I know it's gonna be hard on his home island, but
Oh, he's from here?
yeah, he's apparently he was born here, is what they told me. Over in what was it? The all I remember is that it was a coast town of the White Sea where they caught Great Claw.
Do you want me to actually tell you what it was?
I don't remember the name of it. I think I probably have it written down.
it would be on Molly's map, so maybe yes, tell us.
Okay.
Fishing village primarily. That's
Yeah.
what I have written.
It's the village of Tade Morden.
Tay?
Taed. Tade Morden. Morden.
Okay.
Yeah, the village of Tade Morden.
I
just
did not-
south of Rima Alora, which is a large port that's a little north of that. That's the one that you actually departed from.
I have Go North, but I don't have the name of the place. Tima Aurora.
Rima, Rema, Alora, separate word, Alora.
Okay, I've got them in my notes now. Awesome.
All right, and I think some of those might actually, although again, got it. I'll actually spend some effort to put it in the file, but most of my notes are okay. Some of my notes are in the online file. So if there's stuff you guys don't remember, some of it's in there. But yeah, this stuff I haven't gotten to. This is like the last quarter of the notes, but about half of them are on there.
I
I'm
just had,
trying to find that.
I
Sorry.
had an idea that's basically the same. I think Ormus is really onto something, but I want to try pursuing that in a different way.
Mhm.
And this is a little out of character for Lee, because I think it's something that Fiona and Ormus should do because they're probably better at it than Lee. Ormus, you're really good at lying, right?
No, he's not.
I mean, I can be.
This time I actually want you to lie. So,
I'm gonna check his forehead.
I know, it's crazy, but I'm afraid this guy's gonna run away if we come in too hot.
It's really sweaty.
Oh, it's so sweaty. I'm having like a
Lee,
heat
I
stroke.
think I'm gonna need to lie down, buddy. You're saying some crazy stuff now.
I know. All right. So what I'm thinking is maybe you go in and you're like, "Hey, I'm looking for, a really good fisherman. He won't recognize you and Fionn, and Fionn can kind of watch and see, gauge their reactions and collect information.
Get insight based on people's reactions and if they're lying and
Yeah.
whatnot. Okay, I can say I'm looking for a good fisherman for hire, like the legends say.
Like the legends say.
Yeah. So, but just really.
Well, I come from a
smoothly-
land. I come from Terrania, and I've heard of the legends of Great Paw.
I'm looking for the best
God,
fisherman
we
on
just
the
said it.
islands, essentially. I want you to ask that and bring Fionn and see if you can weed him out or, like, get a name or something like that. Don't mention him by name because I think that's going to scare them off. We'll hold on to that card for
Who
now.
are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm Lee.
Oh my God. You're too easy, buddy.
No, don't mention Aiden Marsden by name.
Oh, I thought you were saying don't mention you. By name.
I don't even think he knows my name. But yeah, if you mention him by name, I think that'll alert him. I think you should go and basically try to find the best fisherman on the island for help, but don't mention him by name and see if you can get him to come forward. Basically,
Okay.
be like, I've got a really big
Job.
Yeah, and I want the help of the best fisherman and see if you can get him tracked down.
Okay.
See if you can get any leads. I'm sure they're all going to jump on you and be like, "Oh, I'm the best fisherman," but
Probably.
think-
That's what I'm expecting.
I think this might be able to lead to some leads, or if we play it right.
Yeah.
And Orman,
I feel like I should kind of at least mention the Great Claw.
if you get pressured into it, if it doesn't work at first, you can start dropping things you know.
I'll remind you, Great Call was not caught here.
Yeah, Great Claw was caught across the White Sea.
Our opening line should just straight up, flat out, we're looking for a great fisherman.
Yeah, don't mention by name. Don't mention any. Like, if you know too much, I think that'll scare them off. And if you have to, you can start pulling that stuff out. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if this is gonna work, but this is the best I could think of, and this will at least give us a way to collect information.
I mean, it makes sense to me. We have the
Yeah, no,
charisma. We have the charisma monkey tell a lie, and the insight monkey, weed through the potential candidates.
Can I scry before we do that though, or try to scry at least to see if
Oh,
I
yeah,
can get
that's true. That'll give us way more leads than doing this. So let's do that
Sure.
first.
Yeah. Okay. So, because this is secondhand, you've never met the target, but you do have his likeness. He has a +3 to his save. So, what is your spell save DC?
it is 15.
Okay.
Uh,
The spell has failed.
oh man,
Oh,
Ormus, one more thing. Just one more
Yep.
thing. Please, and I feel like I probably shouldn't have to ask this, but please don't kill anybody.
Oh,
I feel like I shouldn't have to ask this. Sorry, go
you know
on.
what? You're so worried about it?
I'm not
Here,
that worried
I'll let
about
you hold
it.
on to it. I'll pull off my sword and hand it to him.
Well,
Protect
I
it.
know you won't draw your sword, but I never made you promise not to kill anybody. Because I trust your judgment on this.
Oh shit,
mostly.
you're right. I didn't even see
Yeah,
how
you can
loophole.
kill without the sword in circumstances. All I ask is that you don't draw that sword against
Unless
an
it's
innocent.
dire.
And
Unless
unless it qualifies, that's all I'm asking. You can use another weapon, you can do whatever, because I'm trusting you with that responsibility. But I don't even feel like I need to ask this, and I think that,
You
just
don't.
please don't betray my trust here,
The same crewmate says, "Are you sure you're not up to no good?"
He's just had struggles in the past. He's in rehab. It's okay.
All right.
we're all
I'm
trying.
just gonna roll my eyes.
What, you've never met an ex-prisoner who, is just trying to make a living?
Don't judge somebody who's doing their best to improve, please.
Yeah, he's really trying, and we believe in him, but we're trying to give him the right support.
There's a lot of nods and whispers. The crew's a little quieter. They give you a little more room as they walk by,
I
as
think
they
I'm-
go about their business.
I thought
As they
loved
start whispering, I'm
Ormus.
just gonna give them all a serious look.
I thought they loved Ormus. The captain loved Ormus.
Yeah, but you think he's perhaps regretting his choice to give a very cheap ride to a bunch of heavily armed strangers. Like, surprise, surprise! I think this may have been a bad idea. But anyway, he's just sort of backing off a little bit more. Like, yeah, this is starting to get a little strange.
Alrighty.
Anyway, so preparations all done, ready to arrive.
I think so. Does everybody feel good about what we discussed before?
I do, yeah.
I think Lee kind of gives that smile, the kind of showing too many teeth because it's an awkward smile.
And it's just covered in sweat.
Yeah, just covered in sweat.
He looks really red around the edges. Anyway, so
Wally, I think Lee might need a greater restoration. He doesn't look hot.
I think at this point Lee would probably be like, "All right, I could probably disguise myself in a better way. Take off the cloak and like wrap something around his head instead to like keep the sweat off and also kind of disguise him a little bit, like a handkerchief sort of deal or a headband."
all right, but you're still wearing the breastplate.
No, I'll take that off too. I don't need armor. This is an island. It's fine.
Okay, fine.
Famous last words.
Yeah, so yeah, it's an island. What could happen on an island? Okay.
I don't want to be super conspicuous, so I'm not going to wear armor.
The last island you guys went to, you almost got eaten by a dinosaur. Just throwing it out there.
I know. I'll still be carrying my hammer on my belt, but maybe I'll be wearing the cloak kind of like around my waist, so it's kind of hanging down. Maybe it could cover up my hammer a little bit, hammer and shield.
Okay. You just kind of just wrap it in various places, but try not to make it too much of a tripping hazard.
Yeah. You know how you like tie a shirt around your waist, kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But you would have to like wrap it several times and try to do something because it's like it's a cloak, and it'll be too long. But yeah, you can with a little bit of effort get it to finally wrap around, and it just turns into this odd sort of sash,
Yeah.
a
So
very heavy sash.
I'm basically wearing a cloak skirt with like my hammer and shield tucked under it, my black like tight turtleneck sort of thing underneath, and then like a headband wrapped around my head, sort of.
Yeah, very inconspicuous.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that conspicuous. I think it's less conspicuous than somebody in a dark colored cloak.
Okay.
But my biceps look fantastic. It's fine.
Okay then. As you all arrive at port, the captain doesn't even drop anchor. They just pull up alongside. Here we are. Time to get off.
I'll thank the captain again for the
I'll
trip.
thank
Thank
you as
you,
well.
thank you again. We really appreciate the ride.
Yeah, no problem. Bye. And they just quickly push off as soon as you all are off of the ship.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna give him something as a show of appreciation.
What were you going to give? You could try to stop him. He wants to get out of there before you do whatever terrible things that you're going to do on this island.
As they drift away,
I hadn't even decided yet.
they just see the island become a light.
Yeah. And it just slowly sinks as a pillar of purple flame goes up. It's like, what happened?
No, I thought I thought Aldrin, Jacob, and Mark were gonna stay on the boat, but I guess they're just staying at the dock.
Yeah, they weren't staying on the boat. They were just staying at the dock.
Okay.
Because the boat was always just giving you a quick ride. They're on their way home. And they were just like, yeah, sure, it's on the way. No big deal. We'll give you a ride. And then they're just going to keep going their sort of way. But yeah, so Aladrin, Mark, Jacob, and his lady friend are going to be hanging out at the dock. Just kind of whistling and twiddling thumbs, looking around.
Hey, Ormus and Theone, if we can't find information with talking to the fisherman, I've got another idea, and it may or may not work, but I'm just gonna call it Plan Terrible Plan B.
I'm scared, but go
Don't
on.
worry, it's significant. It's really dumb because it's Lee's idea.
That's what scares me.
Yeah, don't worry, it's not dangerous.
All right.
Less
So,
scared.
so
intrigued.
who's doing what? What's the doing? You've
Well-
got a town in front of you. It seems to spread out along so that everyone has ocean views for the most part, set back from the sands quite a ways, and there are a couple of docks that are built in. They look relatively small, nowhere near as expensive or extensive as the previous docks. Looks like you can only hold maybe 3 or 4 ships at a time, and these are small ships, not even deep docks. Although there are quite a few pegs along the beach. You think those are for tying up maybe like rowboat size sort of boats that might be good enough for some for pulling ashore. And you can see, as I said, there's a large lighthouse, and as you've gotten closer, you look at it, it's painted red. And you can see that there are quite a few buildings that are built in. There are, as you've gotten closer and looked, there are some of the sort of very simple, plain, stick-like structures of the previous town, and much more breezy, get a lot of the air, but there are still those sort of larger, more refined actual structures that are likely much more secure and protective to the weather and the environment. You don't see much in the way of identification of much of anything. You don't see road signs. You don't see anything that would be indicative of a temple. You don't see a whole lot. You just see kind of these buildings, and they seem nondescript, nothing in the way of signs.
Well, I kind of like Lee's idea. Thinking maybe me and Fionn can go to, well, we might even all go to a tavern me and him can go up to the bartender and I can see what I can find out.
Yeah, we could do that. You know, that works too.
How
Because like he's
how good or bad of an idea would it be to flock of familiars some sky colored birds and have them do a lookout based on what Molly's crafted face looks like?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Send out a UAV.
Yeah.
Go on, Mollymort.
Uh,
Actually, can I ask, are there any critters around for me to ask if they've seen him?
There are quite a few critters in the sense that there's some crabs, there's a lot of gulls, and I mean there's probably a lot more, but those are the ones that are quite obvious. You can see that there's crabs sort of moving around below the docks, and there's gulls above. And some of the crabs and the gulls seem to be having a disagreement over what's for dinner.
or who's for dinner.
Yeah, if I may, I mean, I think that's all a good idea. And maybe we should do that first. But kind of just so you guys know, my kind of plan is that me and Molly would probably go to the tavern or somewhere where we could just kind of like collect information somewhere else on the island, and you guys would do your thing, and then we'd meet back up and kind of compare notes. But that stuff does sound like a good idea. Maybe we could all go to the tavern first, do the flock of familiars thing, and everything else.
Cat
Well, the
Alpha
map,
team,
if we,
Bravo team, and Charlie team.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
their
the island
names
is
are Hickory,
only a-
Dickory, and Doc.
Okay.
I'll go to the docks? No, Aladrin's at the docks.
Yep.
So do you guys want to go ahead and do the thing with Hickory Dickory and Doc, and then go to the tavern together, and then do the thing where you and Ormus go to Fiona and Ormus go to the dock and talk to fishermen?
Well, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't drop Lee and Molly off and then fishermen. You
Okay.
guys can collect information while we're,
That's the idea, yeah.
yeah.
Or Team B, yeah.
I'll talk to animals on our way wherever I'm going with Lee, I guess.
What about Lee?
I'll talk to critters while I'm going wherever I'm going with you.
Okay. Well, the plan I think right now is that we're all gonna head to like the inn tavern or whatever, wherever we're going, and they're gonna drop us off, and then Lee and Molly are gonna ask questions there, while Fiona and Ormus go and try to find like fishermen. I don't know if it's the right time of day for that right now, but they could go and do that, and
Wait, so-
Fiona could send out his familiars while they wait or whatever.
So me and Fiona aren't staying at the tavern then.
Oh, I mean, we can. That I'm telling you what my idea was. If you guys want to do something different, just tell me. Because the idea was that you guys would go to the dock. But if you guys want to go ahead and do the thing at the tavern, we can do that first. Is that what you want to do?
I feel like a bit based on whatever story that I've come up with already. That might be the best idea first before we talk to other fishermen
Wait, what do you,
about like the best fishermen around.
I
I don't understand why we can't go and do the whole for the best fisherman thing while they go to the tavern. It's like they'd still be doing what. I don't see any benefit to us. Like divide and conquer seems like the best option here.
Yeah, you know what they say, always split the party. I'm just joking. I'm just making a joke.
Yeah. Mark says if there's another tavern, we can always just go.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if they have a tavern. They could just have like a shack that people get ale out of.
Let's go find a shack.
Yeah, just tributary. But all right, so looking for a shack then? Is it just Lee and Mollymort going to look for the shack, or are
I would
Fiona
say-
and Ormus gonna...
I would say we're gonna go together, so that we know where each other are at, and then from there, maybe Ormus, if he wants, could go ahead and talk to the barkeep, and then him and Fiona, after they do that, could head to the docks.
I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I don't. Also, Lee will mention. I don't know for sure if it's the right time of day to talk to them. So if you guys think that they might not be there for you to even talk with, we can hang out and find something to do until later this evening. There's a lot of unknowns, but
Yeah.
the idea is to go to the tavern and then you guys go talk to the fishermen. It was my idea.
Yeah, in terms of time of day, it took you a couple of hours to get here, but it's essentially like mid to late afternoon.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so you're gonna head off to try and find a tavern.
Yes, and I'm gonna talk to critters along the way.
Gotcha. In talking to these critters, what would you like to say by what means?
Basically, just have you seen this person and show the illusion.
You continue to instantiate the illusion, bring it in, just kind of keep it going.
Not keep it going, but just bring it. Remember what he looks like and bring it up whenever I'm asking somebody about what he looks like. Because it is minor illusion, it's cantrip.
Yeah. And you're just asking these various animals if they've seen him.
Yes.
Okay. And you ask a bird, and the bird shakes no. Essentially gives you a negative, and again. And then a couple more. It seems like they're probably not going to be super helpful, or at least you haven't found the right ones.
I will kind of more so target crabs in these questions.
Okay.
With them, I will mention that we're looking for him because he killed the biggest, what was it, a lobster that we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Did he kill it? I thought
No, he didn't.
he didn't kill it. Yeah, I think that was a guardian of where they of that place.
They don't know that.
That's true. I guess you could deceive these poor crabs.
Yeah. So the birds are easy because of your snack kleptomania, you kind of constantly smell of slightly stale bread, and that's kind of their thing. The crabs are a little trickier. You gotta have to they don't really feel cool about people just running up and yelling at them.
Even a
Um,
druid.
Basically, I would need an animal handling check to be able to kind of, unless you want to just be kind of yelling at a distance. If you really want to walk up on these crabs, it's going to take a little bit of animal handling. The birds, as I said, you kind of, like I said, you're wearing their preferred scent.
I am going to walk up to the crabs, but they can't move that fast away from me, and I'm just gonna politely greet them. Hello, excuse me. I would just like to know if you've seen this person. He killed the biggest lobster that's been hauled out of the ocean.
And you're chasing them as you say this because they continue to go. It's.
Well, do I really need to chase them? Are they that fast? I figured just walk along with them.
Have you ever chased a crab?
No.
They're super fast. It is weird how fast they are.
I guess I'm chasing after them then. Yeah.
Yeah. Crabs could be really crazy fast. I mean, some of them go slow, but when they go into full scuttle, oh boy, you got to run. Anyway, but with a little bit of effort, and through this, is it your sort of racial ability, or is this a druidic ability? Is this a spell in terms of speaking with them?
It's a forest gnome thing, so it's not a spell, it's just I can talk to them.
Speak with small beasts. Yeah. We keep going back and forth on it. It's difficult confusing it with fions and everything, but Through sounds and gestures, you can communicate simple ideas with small or smaller beasts, and there's certainly small beasts. You can befriend small beasts and rely on them for information about threats that might prowl the lands, etc., etc. Interesting. But yeah, in this particular instance, as you're quickly trying to insist that the crabs that you were chasing, try to get them to look at this person and describe. If you want to make maybe an animal handling check, like I said, to try and be a little tactful about it. Otherwise, it is just you trying to chase a crab, basically.
I
I-
rolled an 18.
And 18 is pretty good. An 18 is pretty good. You're able to slowly approach them, going sideways, as is their preferred method of movement.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
Molly would do.
Yeah, you just kind of sidle up to them a little bit, and you instantiate the floating head of the figure in front of them, and then ask them if they have seen this individual, and they don't seem to respond in the affirmative.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It is good to finally see Molly being a, getting to really completely fall into her Druid of the Coast thing.
Adira is taking notes.
Aw, delightful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will, give a little show of appreciation when, however, a crab might do that, and tell them if they see him, please let me know if they could send somebody or if they spot me again.
All right. Yeah, they seem to give something of an acknowledgement. Um, yep. They, it doesn't look too excited, but
I will tell the crab that I'll try to have some sort of reward or like a favor for whoever gets me that information.
do you want to do you have anything to show as the kind of rewards that might be entail? Do you have any morsels of or chunks of things to be like, hey, this is in your this is in your future if you help me?
No, I do not. I mean, I imagine they'd want, I don't know, fish or whatever or meat, but
You should
Uh,
have eel jerky from way back when in your hat.
Uh,
I don't think that's good anymore. I think I've probably dumped that by now.
well, I was gonna say, Lee walks over with his jar of fish eyes,
Ah,
Huh.
of pickled fish eyes, and he says, "Do you need this?"
yes, thank you. And I hold the jar out to the crab. Would you guys like these? Cause they'd be great if you want them for a reward for helping me. I'd be glad.
If this works, it finally comes full circle.
But
Oh.
does this entice the crabs?
It seems curious for sure. It's a little more excited. I mean, yeah, it's
I can't imagine this actually ever paying off. This is just a dumb joke I made.
I will tell it. I can also take requests because I speak bipedal creature.
it doesn't seem to really respond too much on that one. I mean, it almost looks maybe a bit confused.
Ooh, Molly, can you only talk to bears when they stand on two legs? That would be hilarious.
No, they aren't small creatures.
Oh.
They do not speak common.
Well, what about chipmunks? Can you only talk to them when they're on two legs?
No, because they are a small. I think chipmunks would be a small creature, right? Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah,
Alrighty.
the chipmunks would actually be in the smaller category. Like
Tiny.
they're really tiny, relatively speaking.
Peanut.
So as Molly Mort is doing this on the way to try and find an inn, or tavern, or bar, or something similar, As I said, most of this seems to be relatively nondescript buildings. Some of them have murals or some sort of carvings that are upon them, and some of them do not. They don't seem to have anything really written too much. Would anyone like to maybe do an insight or perhaps an investigation or maybe a perception or something of some kind to try and figure out where in the world you're trying to go?
I rolled a 1, and I have a -1 to my wisdom, so that's a 0.
Okay.
Do I walk into the ocean?
No, not necessarily.
Hey guys, we should go over there. And I'm like pointing to like some seaweed floating on the water near the dock.
I just take Lee's hand and keep moving along.
Does anyone else want to roll or
Roll
attempt anything?
13 perception.
That's pretty good. Would anyone else like to attempt, or want to go with the 13, which is fine? 13 is pretty good.
I'll give it a practice.
Okay.
Oh, that was
Are you going
well-
for perception or insight, Leon?
mine was well. It's the same either way.
We'll try an insight, I guess. Not the best. 25 though.
Okay.
Not the best.
No, I was saying my score's not the best because if he went insight, I would have went perception as well, which is a 9 rather than a 6.
Wow, okay.
So, all three of you see that quite a few people are going into the lighthouse. More people than are coming out, and certainly more than you would expect to go to a lighthouse. Now, that's sort of the most noticeable thing. Beyond the rest, is not really a lot else of interest, but there are a lot of people going to the lighthouse.
Lee will say, "Why would people go to the lighthouse? That doesn't make any sense."
I don't know. Let's go see.
Probably the gathering hub, maybe, bud. Let's go find out. Oh, that was an echo. Holy shit.
Just a little. When you get closer, you can see that there is as I said, that there are carvings and sort of murals on some of these doors and by some of these doors, although nothing is written. This one is a red candle. And if you kind of look at the candle and you look at the fact that the lighthouse, which is made of some kind of a stone, is painted or dyed red in some regards, the red candle in the lighthouse, they kind of look, there's some similarity, but it's clearly that the carving and painting is of a candle, and that's clearly a lighthouse. But there is some similarity in terms of perspective and size. Am I making any sense here?
Yeah.
It's a red candle lighthouse. Yeah. Anyway,
I was gonna say, I'm guessing the name of the place is Red Candle.
possibly, but it's a red candle and it's a red lighthouse, and there's a lit candle where the light is above, and like there's some strong similarities there. You can kind of see what the artist was going for. Anyway, but seeing this information, do you want to head on in?
I'll do my my prop comedy routine.
Okay.
I'm scared.
While Lee does that,
Again.
inside you can see that there are quite a few occupied tables, really. Not so much tables, like everything seems to be, it's a lot of standing tables, basically.
Quick
But
question.
there are quite a few of them, relatively small, and they're arranged in a kind of, not so much a spiral, but there's rings, essentially, around this room, this circular room. By the way, the lighthouse is circular. It's like like a lighthouse, typical lighthouse, as one would find. Although there are square. Okay, the point is it's round and like a candle. Anyway, there's a bar that is completely occupied with individuals. Many of these standing tables dot the area, also lit, and in fact, there is someone playing a lute that is beside an unlit fireplace, and it's providing some decent atmosphere. And there are red candles on every table, and the room is, while they are red, they're just burning a normal candle color. So the room is filled with a nice kind of the waxy candle smell, not scented candles, but the candle scent. And overall, it seems quite decent. Many of them have drinks. Some of them have food. This seems to be some sort of a hopping place to be.
Nice.
When
Yeah.
we came in, what was the majority of the population? Were there mixed like elves, humans, dwarves, or was it just mainly humans?
It seemed to be mostly elves, some half elves. You
Okay.
see, if you looked fully in terms of the details of the whole details of the island, then like previously at the previous island you were at, you saw dwarves and gnomes as well, and you may think there might even have been a half orc there, but basically here mostly elves and a couple of half elves, and they seem to be just kind of, enjoying the evening.
Lee, did you ever tell us if he was human or elven? What?
Humans don't live outside of Hope.
Yeah, he was a half elf. Aiden is a half elf. Well, he has a his name is Elvish, of course.
Oh, I just realized I never said I guys self as an average half elf to make sure certain that was there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was asking because that's why I was asking because I was going to determine if I was human, elven, or a different race. This guy's
Yeah, humans for the most part currently. You have not seen a single human. Well, correction. You have only seen one human outside of Hope and its surrounding area, and that was Edwin, the ambassador, that it was in Turinea. Beyond that, you've not seen another human.
I
Oh,
do
thank
like the idea of both Fiona and Ormus just looking like taller, thinner versions of Lee.
I mean, pretty much. Because
Yeah.
I think lowest I can go is, I know I can go to like 4 foot, but I would probably go somewhere around 5'10".
Mm-hmm. Just average.
These are
Just
my
average.
brothers.
Okay. No one seems to really take much notice or care as you all come in. Do you just stand awkwardly by the door?
Does it
Lee
look
does.
like there are people looking to take, to see people?
In terms of people that are looking anxious as to who might be coming in, or
No, but I mean, does this seem like a restaurant where, you'd need to be seated?
insight check.
Ten.
Okay, it's tough to tell. Without knowing some of the customs, it seems casual. There's no chairs. It seems like a place that maybe you could just walk up. People are certainly walking up to the bar, but you don't see any signs one way or the other, and you weren't here when anyone else came in. Everyone else just seems to just already be here, and nobody has come over to take you over someplace, but maybe they're just busy. You don't really know. You could take a chance, but you might offend them culturally and ruin the whole mission.
Lee sits down.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone,
He's gonna head towards the bar.
there's a screech as the as the guitar stops playing, and everyone looks over at the only seated person in town.
Lee waves. Why are there chairs if I can't sit?
Anyway, you were saying, Molly Mort, you're going to the bar?
Yes.
Okay. Would anyone else like to join her going to the bar? Or
Yeah, I would go and grab a drink. Probably chill there
Alright.
for a little bit.
and Lee, you just sit kind of in the doorway.
I I sit at like a table.
Okay.
Bars,
There are no chairs.
there are no
Um,
chairs.
Yeah, like I said, they're all standing tables.
Oh crap! I didn't catch that. Okay, I walk over to a standing table and
Okay.
sleep on it.
Yeah, you walk on over to a standing table. Gotcha. That no one seems to care that you've done that.
Fionn follows Lee and takes a scan of the room.
All right, an Ormus, bar or table?
Bar.
Bar. Okay. Fionn, what's your passive perception?
Passive is 19.
Okay. And if you want, I'll give you the option, since you're saying you want to scan the room, of making a perception check. But the passive is basically to try and be casually watching any interaction between Mollymort, Ormus, and the locals. And or you could actively roll if you like.
I'll just leave it at passive because that was all it was. A genuine new room I have not been in where I will scan.
Yeah, I figured. It's just the sort of typical thing that you walk in a new room, you look around. Perfectly reasonable. So Mollymort, now this is a standing bar that is primarily for elves and half elves. No surprise here. Pardon?
I said, oh dear, I'm too short.
Maybe, perhaps, but I'm just, as you're walking up to this bar, would you like to plan ahead or make any sort of action or motion or anything on the possibility that they might not even see you're there? They don't seem to be. Or go on.
Is there a person working at the bar?
Oh yes, a person that is swamped with people ordering.
Oh darn.
As I said, basically the entire bar is there's just a whole bunch of people.
I will tug Ormus's sleeve and ask him to ask for a seat or something for me.
Hey Molly,
Some sort of boost.
don't forget about the ring of jumping. You could probably do a standing leap onto that bar.
I know, but I want to be polite.
I just thought that would be funny.
All right. So Mollymort, in asking Ormus if there's any sort of a booster seat or anything, Ormus, what would you like to do? The bar section seems to be, well, not to be a joke, but standing room only. It's quite full. And there are a couple of standing tables available, some of which, or rather one at which Lee and Fionn have gone to. But Mollymort is asking for some sort of an accommodation for the fact that all of the tables are taller than she is. Would you like to interject anything if you're there, Ormus? He's probably busy, unfortunately.
Or connection.
Yeah, either one can happen. So, Fionn, as you are looking around, nobody seems to really be taking too much notice. There are a couple of people that you look and you see a little bit of a whisper and then another glance from the people they're whispering. Yeah, there he goes. That they're whispering to. You think that it's not every day that they see, a gnome.
Jesus.
Hey, and there's just sort of like a oh look, there's a gnome. Oh, she's cute. Yeah, okay. But then they just kind of go back to their conversation. That seems to be most of what you kind of see. Beyond that, no one else seems to really be paying anyone any attention. Ormus, I don't know where it cut out for you, but you and Mollymort were moving up to a bar, and Mollymort asked if you could ask the bartender or someone if they have any sort of like high chairs or stools or something, because all of the tables are standing tables, and all of the tables are taller than Mollymort.
I'm too short. It's all too big for me. Help.
Well, I mean, you could probably always just stand on the bar.
That seems impolite.
It's the exact suggestion Lee had. Just jump up on the bar.
You surprise a lot of people with your hops. But yeah, no, I'll ask the barkeep after I buy a drink.
All right. Now the bar section seems to be relatively swamped. A lot of people seem to be placing their orders or waiting to place their orders, and the bartender seems to be quite busy, quickly taking orders and kind of scribbling them down and passing the note to a window behind them, and continuing with this in a quick pattern and fashion. Do you want to wait your turn, or do you want to interrupt and try to inject in getting a drink?
I can wait my turn if Molly can wait.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How visible, like, how big of a window is he passing things?
It seems roughly big enough to pass not only a note, but also perhaps a plate or two.
Is it big
So-
enough to see the person on the other side working?
Yes.
Sort of like a diner, almost.
Yeah, but it's not like super wide open. It's just wide enough for the food to pass through, like a dumbwaiter size kind of entrance. Um, and in fact, there is a dumbwaiter, but that's not important. They're not addressing that currently. But through the window, you can see that there is an individual moving around. It does not appear to be Aiden Marsden, but he could be in disguise. But, it just seems
Much
to
like
be
us.
an unremarkable individual of Elvish descent.
I'm glad you knew why I was asking. Because I had the thought, I was like, hell, this is literally exactly what Stone did to Laylo. Work in the back of a restaurant every hour of the day he was in.
It is, yeah. But he could be in disguise. You never know. But, yeah, they seem to be fairly busy. Yeah, but every once in a while you see a bit of a ring of a ding as a bell is chimed, and another plate or two or three is put up on this shelf, and they're turned around and given to individuals. People go back into their standing areas. It doesn't seem that there's anyone coming out in terms of help. It seems that all of the food and drink orders are just coming through this small area. Drink comes from the guy in the front, food comes from the guy in the back, and everyone's just going up, ordering, and paying through right there.
Okay. Before she does get to me, I'll ask Molly what she wants for a drink.
I want to be able to see what's going on. I'm actually gonna pull out a gold and like put it up on the bar, but keep my fingers on it so that way like they have to acknowledge me to get the coin.
So you get up on your tippy toes and you're just holding your fingers on a coin that's just above.
It's bait to get them to acknowledge me.
I can always Captain Morgan it for you.
Captain
saying I
Morgan it.
Yeah. Put a leg up. Might be a little awkward, but
Yeah, that
temporary
would
maybe.
start to cramp up real quick, I imagine.
So, you get to basically to the point where you're kind of like next in line, so to speak, and you've just reached up with it. Do you want to speak from there, or Mollymort, or do you want to have Ormus speak for you while you're holding your gold piece blindly above the bar?
I'm gonna speak for myself.
All right. What would you like to say?
Once I'm somewhat acknowledged, I will say, I need a stool or something, please.
You have not really been acknowledged per se. I mean, it's because that's the tricky part. Is the bar is sort of solid. You could stand back and wave it, but you might get lost in the swamp of people again. If you're that close, you're basically just holding your hand up and hoping they acknowledge. But since Ormus is standing there, they pretty much focus on Ormus first.
I'll just be like, well, you have a customer here, and I'll point down. She would like to pay and request something.
Oh, I'm sorry, little miss. And he kind of pulls himself over the bar and looks down.
I'm just a gnome, I need a stool.
Of course. I apologize. We are more than happy to make all accommodations. We just, respectfully, we just don't get that many. One moment. Hold on, folks. Be right back. And he kind of goes along the wall a little bit and goes in through a sort of door that leads presumably into some sort of back of house, or perhaps even further into the kitchen, because there's just a little window. There's no other door, so no way for him to come out. And then there's stairs that spiral up around the whole thing, and presumably the kitchen isn't up there. Well, anyway, so soon enough, he does come out with a kind of a high stool. And this looks to be perhaps in decent proportion for a human to sit on it, but from the almost ladder-like aspect of its various cross supports and its wide base, this is likely some sort of a standing stool, relatively correctly proportions for a gnome.
Ah, good. I hand him the coin with a thanks.
Oh, no need. Thank you, though. Would you like to place an order?
Yeah, what's most commonly asked for around here?
Uh,
In terms of
mostly
drinks.
in terms of drinks. Well, it's a bit of a local favorite. It's basically really salty rum. If you're into that sort of thing.
Sounds interesting. I'll try it. How much?
2 copper.
Oh, okay. Sure. I slide over 2 copper.
He gets you a decent-sized mug, about the size of a coffee mug, essentially, but it seems to be made of. It's a kind of well-worn wood, essentially. But inside, you can see that it looks to be some sort of not so much a mirage, or not a mirage, excuse me. It looks like pieces of shell were kind of cracked up or broken up, like mother of pearl shell, and they've just kind of been stuck in a kind of clay and fired, but they're on the inside. So the outside is wood, and then the inside is like a ceramic that is lined with shells. So it looks kind of pretty. And inside it's kind of like a watery, sort of rum-colored substance that smells kind of strange. It smells like kind of like pickles, to be honest. But anyway, you have that.
Ormus?
Oh,
And you, fine sir.
I'll get the same drink and what do we got in here? We got like what, 4 or 5 people? I'll get 5 meals.
All right. Anything in particular, or just a house special?
Just house special.
Okie dokie. 5. Would you like a tray?
It's just
Yeah.
the 4 of us, right? Just Oramus, Molly, Lee, and Leon.
Correct. It
Yeah,
is
but
just
I'm
the 4
hungry.
of you.
Okay, so
And he says 5 drinks and 5 meals.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
My drink, please.
Oh,
What was that?
5 drinks and 4 meals then. Okay.
No. 4 drinks and 4. Yeah, 4 drinks and 5 meals.
He nods. Oh, of course. Right away. And he quickly starts to taking from below the bar some large stash of these mugs and begins to pour them 2 at a time from a large keg that is behind, and then puts them on a tray and puts them on the bar for Oramus. And he says the meals will be up in just a minute or 2, and you can see him scribbling something down quickly, then passing a note towards the back.
When he says that, fantastic. Hey, real quick, you got a minute? I got a question I need to ask you.
Yeah,
try and
real
make it
quick,
quick,
real
I
quick.
promise.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like looking at all of the other people at the bar that are kind of like, oh, come on.
I'll well.
Okay, I'll just be like, I'll look at him and be like, well, see, I'm from Terinia, and I'm here looking for a specific person that I've only heard of. A great fisherman who can go out and catch more fish by himself in a single net than a whole fleet of fishermen. Have you heard of this man?
Nope. He
Not at all.
shakes his head and he says, no, not really. All the way from Terinia, I wouldn't really know. We don't have a lot of fishermen here.
Well, he's not. Oh, you don't have a lot of fishermen here. I've heard he's from here.
Well, I mean, not here. I mean, are you talking about in the islands, or are you talking about this town?
This island.
This island. Yeah, we don't do. I mean, we eat a lot of fish, but we usually just pay other people to fish them. We don't do a lot of the fishing here.
Okay.
Nobody comes to mind. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, anyways. I'll slide him a silver. Oh, hello, Aladrin.
You slide him a silver. He
Huzzah!
quickly
Hello,
puts
Aldrin.
it away. And soon enough, he is able to bring out for you, or basically, soon enough, there's like he kind of waves you guys, like waving back to Ormus, like as if your food's ready.
No, yeah, I'll go grab it.
Okay.
I'll thank you very much and tip him another silver.
He goes,
I'll just give him a wink.
that's, well, that's 1 silver, 5 copper, please.
No, I'm saying an extra silver on top of it.
Oh, okay, cool. He gives a wink, and he goes, if it's, he kind of motions you a little bit closer.
I'll get closer.
He says, if you're looking for, forgive me if I'm reading it wrong, but if you're looking for a certain man, maybe the teal mollusk, it's a little further down, just anyway. Gives you a pat on the shoulder.
Ooh, good
Thank you.
information.
Thank you. I'll grab the food and bring it to everybody.
All right. It's essentially it's a red stew. It looks to be mostly like a fish stew with dumplings.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's got as you get into it a little bit more, those are like oysters in there too. So yeah, it's like the dumplings themselves are like oyster ravioli in a kind of fish-based tomato-esque stew. Does that kind of makes any sense?
Okay, I can see
Yeah.
that.
Small bowl of it. It's hearty. It's warm. It's fairly delicious. It's not bad.
Okay. Well, so Molly wasn't there when I got.
No.
Okay. So I'll let everybody know. So he told me about the blue mollusk. I'm looking for a certain
The teal
individual.
mollusk.
Yeah, the blue
Oh,
mollusk
teal.
is in
Teal.
Bacata.
Yeah, the blue mollusk is in Bacata.
Okay, I'll let him know. Teal mollusk.
Yeah, I know it's weird. But
Down
I
the
don't know
way a
why I
little
would
bit.
think. I don't know why I would use both of those, but oh well. I'm sure they're completely unrelated and they have nothing to do with each other.
No, perhaps.
You also know that it's Mark's favorite restaurant. Well,
Yep.
I say restaurant.
Bar.
Yeah, hang out. So,
Isn't that the gay bar?
well, look, let's not put it in those terms.
I was like, wait a minute.
So, well, you come up asking like, "Hey, I'm looking for a man." Okay, maybe that club's the place to look.
Looking for
Okay.
a man.
I mean, with the Ormus comes up like, "Hey, I'm looking for a man," and then he's like giving him winks. Like, all right, then whatever. Maybe that place is what you're looking for. Just anyway. So Aladrin.
I respect it.
Hello.
So Aladrin, you have been. There has been a composite image that has been created by Molly Mort to get an idea using Lee's description as to what Aiden Marston looks like. And the team has divided themselves because they want to make sure, as they start to poke around town, that Aiden Marston doesn't jump on a ship and escape.
Mhm.
And so you and Jacob and Mark and Adira are kind of hanging out at the docks, twiddling thumbs, and it hasn't been long. And Mark is getting really bored and like, can we just, like, they were going to a bar. We could go to another bar. We could investigate too.
I'm not enabling your alcoholism, Mark.
No, fine. I won't even drink. Whatever. Just, this is so boring.
Alright. Go ask all the ship captains if they've seen Aiden Marston.
He looks at the one ship. I'll remind. You weren't here for it. So this town is a much more smaller town than you were at before. The docks, or rather, it's Yeah, it's on an island about a mile and a half wide, maybe 2 miles long. As you kind of came in from the side and saw it from different proportions, you're at a town that's on the sort of southern point of the island, and I will actually be able to, because I've got it. I'll show you the overhead of which island you guys went to, and hang on, going towards it, and this one. And open with Pent. Let's see here. So you came to this island and this particular town called Tanya, and you have been here for a little bit of time. It is a small town that is built on mostly the beach. Okay, that's a lot smaller than I thought it would be, but it's that island and that point, roughly under the red dot, is that. And it's built upon most of the sands. Most of the buildings are facing the ocean. They're really spread out. Many of the buildings were previously, they were sort of more stick buildings, very temporary, very breezy, very tropical. Many of them, well, there are some of those breezy ones. Many of them are much more sturdy, built timber buildings, and many of them with stone reinforcements on the lower portions for their foundations. And there's even a large lighthouse that's painted red for whatever reason. And the dock itself only has room for maybe 4 very small ships. And there are quite a few places that there are pegs driven in on the sand on the beaches. And you can see that there are quite a few sort of rowboat size boats that have been dragged up, and you can see some others that are dragging them up that seem to be for temporary or basically like good enough storage for really small boats that are just kind of holding them in place. And so there's not really a lot of other ships' captains to ask. And in fact, the ship that you were on very quickly left as soon as you guys were dropped off.
Yeah, Lee kind of made a note to Ormus to please try not to kill anybody, and the captain found that a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
That was my fault. That was untactful of me.
Yep, that's on me. Yeah, but the captain very quickly left you all here. But they were going to leave you all here anyway. They were just giving you a ride really quick. But you are there. It's kind of late afternoon, early evening, and Mark is getting bored, and you know how dangerous that is.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
I feel like Mark's personal song is "Firework" by Katy Perry.
I dig it.
It's entirely possible.
It's his personal anthem. Yeah, I bet he loves Katy Perry, and I don't blame him, 'cause Katy Perry's alright.
Yeah, exactly. When he volunteered, I'll add that when you're on the ship and there's a question of somebody should stay behind, he quickly volunteered for that duty. You think it was because he was probably just going to shirk it and go off and do his own thing anyway, as well as Jacob. But now that you're here, it's just like, mom stuck us with a babysitter.
I mean, if Alger wants to let him go, I don't think he would think that anybody would have a problem with it.
Yeah.
'Cause,
It's just the question of he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, but we're enablers, so
Yeah.
it's way easier to just enable him than actually try to take the time to stop and help him.
Yeah. Aldrin's way of stopping and helping him is making sure he can't do it.
Okay, so Aldrin's actually a pretty responsible dude. That's good.
Yeah.
So which limbs do you break to make sure he can't go off and...
Just one leg.
Just a quick drop kick on him, no big deal.
I'm just gonna start walking up and down the dock area trying to find this Aiden fellow.
It's a really short walk. The whole dock's like 50 feet wide.
I'm gonna just start talking to people. asking around if they've seen him.
Yeah, nobody says that. It's like, hey, have you seen Aiden Marsden? It's, yeah, nobody seems to be acknowledging. He's a half elf, about yay tall. No
I
acknowledgement.
did ask, was Aldrin around in our conversation where we basically said we should lay low and not drop any names?
Yeah, and also Aldrin's actually doing what I wanted Ormus and Theo to do. I mean, I'm glad somebody's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aldrin's just being a little proactive.
So there's
Well,
no
we're gonna do
acknowledgement
it. I just wanted to go
whatsoever.
to the tavern first to see if anybody
Yeah.
from there had seen him, heard
I
of
know,
him.
I know. I'm just, I'm just poking some fun. But yeah, like, Aldrin's just being proactive. That's good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine by me.
You
Less work for me.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of people, but the few that you do see, you ask if they've seen the guy, and nobody seems to acknowledge that they know who he is. No
Hmm.
clues seem to arise.
I'm gonna just start asking for the best fisherman in town.
A lot of them are just kind of like, yeah, not really sure how to gauge that. We've never really had much of a competition. And then one of the fellows that had come out of one of the really small boats goes, "Yeah, I'm the best fisherman." He's
Oh
just,
boy, another alcoholic.
By the way,
he's got a little bit of a lean to him.
curious, my plan B was find out the name of his mom, or just go up and try to find out where Mrs. Marsden lives, and then get a really big fish and just deliver it to her. Just go to his mom's house. That was my plan. Terrible B.
Oh my gosh.
Finding his mom isn't the worst idea.
Yeah, well, that was my plan B. Let's do this one first, though.
I was expecting your plan B to be more of the sides of flush him out by purposely making him try to run and have Aldrin tackle him or something.
That's
restraining him.
That's too clever for Lee. Lee wanted to
That's
get a
plan C.
big fish and go and visit his mom and give her a fish as a gift.
Hmm.
That was
And
Lee's
that's
plan B.
terrible for Lee. Oh God, you're so innocent.
Very confused.
So, yeah, Aladrin, nobody seems to know who this guy is. And in terms of the best fisherman, you're not getting a lot of answers there either. You are informed that there's not really a lot of fishermen here. We don't do much fishing. I mean, some people do, yeah, but it's not a lot of fishermen here.
I guess that means Aldrin is the best fisherman on the island.
Hmm.
I mean, most of the island, we do a lot of. A lot of us are just jewelers. We do a lot of refining of pearls. We send out a lot of pearls. We don't have. I mean, there's some farmers and some fishermen, but it's mostly here. We're mostly jewelers.
So what do you guys do for food if you don't fish?
We import.
That seems like a bad strategy.
He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, you sound like half the community meeting, but it's what we do.
I
I
mean,
mean, we got other oysters we can eat, but you get sick of them occasionally."
yeah. What are you guys gonna do if like someone decides, we're not gonna keep trading with these folks? What then?
Well, then we offer our extensive amount of money from all of our pearls to someone else.
I mean, I guess money's a plan B. Anyway,
Love
He
how
just, he just starts to walk away. Like, this is just. He didn't want this conversation.
I'm looking for a fellow named Marsden.
Yeah, no, I don't know a fellow named Marsden.
I'm just gonna go around and start knocking on doors.
Okay, you just start going up to the first door. Do you bring your entourage of NPCs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Lee's just kind of wondering to himself at the bar right now whether or not we should have left Aldrin in charge.
We'll never know. Going up, giving a knock, knock, knock on the first sort of large building that you come across. No, nope. Doesn't seem to be an answer. Want to go to the next one?
Sure, I'll just go to the next one.
Going to
I'll
the next
eventually
building.
circle around.
And you're going to the sort of like larger stone and timber buildings, right? Not the really small sort of stick buildings.
I'm going to every building. I don't know what kind of house this Aiden Marsden fellow lives in, so
Got it. Going from building to building, knocking along. You come across, there are some that basically look to be like bubbles, like a pile of, like a clump of bubbles. There's like carvings and paintings along some of the doors. There's no real signage that's offered. You see some of them. There's one that this is probably some sort of a tailor or something, because it's two crossed. You thought they were swords at first, but as you look at it, no, they're needles, and they seem to be two crossed sewing needles. Okay, that's strange. No answer at that one either. And you continue to knock. You get to one where it's some sort of a light blue shellfish of some kind, and you knock upon its door, and there's some noise coming from in there, but nobody really answers at first. There's definitely noise. You can hear talk on the other side.
I'm just gonna peek my head in.
It seems to be a tavern of some kind.
Do I see Aiden?
No, you do not see anyone that you would think is Aiden necessarily. Although, if you want, you could maybe make a roll, because you could be in some kind of a disguise. You're going by Lee's memory, so it's not necessarily going to be, too accurate. You don't really know.
Yeah. That is a 9 on a perception.
Yeah, you don't see anybody in here that might be Aiden, really. It's just, some people in there drinking and eating. Mark looks in and goes, "Oh, we should check more."
No, you alcoholic.
No, I'm not. I'm hungry. You got any food on you? They look like food. Look, they got crab legs. They got crab legs. And you do see, indeed, there's quite a few people sitting at these tables eating crab legs.
Okay.
They're eating crab. Come on, I want some crab.
Yeah, I'll take him inside.
Jacob's like, crab. Adira's like, what's crab? Oh no, I know what crab is. No, she doesn't say that. She knows what crab is because she likes crabs. Anyway, she's gonna be terrified and disgusted, but she'll stomach it. But going inside, Mark's just like, yeah, this looks like my kind of place. And you settle down at a table.
I'm going to make sure he only orders water.
Yeah, he does not, in fact, order water, but he is just like, yeah, crabs, big plate of crabs. And I mean, does it have to be water? Maybe they've got something that isn't. Would you have anything that's not alcoholic? And the guy's like, kind of looks back and he goes, "We got
alcoholic.
Yeah, it's like, we got water, I guess.
Non-alcoholic.
You got milk?
No, we don't have milk.
No juices?
Does Aldrin ask if there are juices?
No, I think Aladrin only acknowledges milk and water.
He's like, I think we got some coconut milk, I guess, but we don't have a lot of it.
Yeah. He's an alcoholic and I'm trying to keep him away from it, so anything non-alcoholic.
Mark's just rolling his eyes. And he goes, okay, so water then. So
Yeah.
he goes off, presumably to get your order. Otherwise, it seems relatively uneventful in here. Just a whole bunch of dudes eating crab. So, Meanwhile, at the Red Lighthouse, you've got this stew. It was quite hearty. There were crackers that were also available at the bar if anyone wanted to perhaps get them or have them. They're sort of like oyster crackers, basically.
That I would be all about.
Yeah, adds a little bit of sturdiness to this stew. And I mean, overall, most of the people seem to be enjoying themselves. Quite a few seems to be. A lot of people are getting this sort of stew. Then there's some that are. It's some kind of some sort of a grain kind of gruel is also enjoyed by some individuals. You imagine that that's probably the vegan option, which is also available, Molly Mort. And
Yeah, that doesn't look very appealing. I think she'll just not eat right now.
yeah, it's there's like beans in it, but it's like oatmeal, but not, but with like beans and some sort of. It's not quite oats, but it's not super pleasant, but it's something. But they seem to be just kind of going along with it. Elves. They're going to be weird. There are some individuals that are eating some heartier things. There's at least one person that seems to be enjoying some kind of an aged steak of some kind. And there are some that are having large chunks of fish.
I keep imagining Molly just grabbing the bowl of oyster crackers and just pouring them into her hat. He's like, I'm not gonna eat right now, but I'll eat later.
Even better, there's a bowl of the oyster crackers on the bar, and then from the perspective of the barkeep, there's a little hand that comes up, and then the bowl goes off the bar, and he doesn't quite notice it. He's like looking around, like, did I see something? I guess not. And then the bowl comes up, and it's nearly empty, and then a little hat walks away.
They just steal the oyster crackers.
You're not going to?
No, not in a place this crowded and people I don't know.
That's fair. But they seem to be, people are just kind of grabbing handfuls, putting them into the bowls as they get the food. And the guys behind the bar just seem quite busy. People are getting their drinks. You can see that people are kind of going up with the empty mugs and just kind of putting them on a counter beside the bar. And likely that's about it in terms of dishes. Sometimes the guy behind the bar will take a big tray of the dishes and go behind the back and then comes back out with a big tray of clean ones pretty quick. So presumably there's someone back there also doing the washing, but you don't really know. But anyway, what do you guys want to do besides enjoy a nice early supper? What's the next plan?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. What was it, the Teal Oyster? I wouldn't mind checking that place out.
If Ormus tells us about that, we could go check that out. Though we still haven't enacted, the original plan of going to the dock. But I think, unbeknownst to us, Aladrin has already taken care of that. But
well, you could always go to the dock and pick up Aladrin and everyone else, and then go to the Teal Oyster after getting directions to the Teal Oyster. Or you could go to the Teal Oyster first, and then, whichever.
I think we should just go to the Teal Oyster. It sounds like a lead to me.
Aladrin's, we left him at the dock so he could stop anybody trying to escape. So I'm sure he probably needs to be there.
Okay, so do you ask the barkeep for directions to the Teal Oyster, or do you just want to try and find it on your own?
I'd rather go out and ask other people on the street if they know where it is, if they can point us in the right direction at least.
Okay. So you guys head out, leaving the Red Candle Lighthouse here, and moving your way, kind of asking some various people as you pass for the blue mollusk, or excuse me, the teal mollusk. So is it Mollymort that asks, or is it, someone else?
It'd be pretty great if Mollymort was the one asking if it is what I think it is.
I mean, if nobody else is asking, Molly's going to take the initiative and go ask people.
Yeah, Mollymort going up to somebody. Where's the blue mollusk? Or do you know where the teal mollusk is? Even I forget it. The teal mollusk. first people, the couple that's about to go into the red candle sort of inn looks down at you and then looks at your friends, looks down at you and says, "You sure that's the where you want to?" Okay. It's if you go down towards the shore a bit, and then make a left, and then go down a couple of doors. It's can't miss it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Sorry for the intrusion.
Yeah. Have fun, I guess. No problem. Going in, woman's like, that's weird. It's odd. Anyway, but they go in. They seem to be enjoying themselves. Moving on and past the strangers. So, moving past the docks, you can't help but notice there are not 4 individuals there that should be there.
Well,
I mean, it's fine. Let's just go on to the Teal Mollusk.
I mean, yeah. I mean, wherever they are, they're with Aldrin. Surely they're fine.
Yeah, they're safe.
I missed what was talked about. What went on?
You got directions to the teal mollusk.
Okay. We looking for a job, so me and him were talking, and I had to repeat myself. Sorry.
It's fine, we understand. But yeah, you have gotten directions to the teal mollusk. You've discovered that Aldrin is not at the docks, and decided that wherever he is, I'm sure it's important. Plus, they're with Aldrin. It's probably all fine. And you start making your way towards the teal mollusk, going down, going past the first building, some sort of a decal bubbles or pearls. Those must be pearls. And then the next one it's those sticks crossed. It's a bit strange. And then going down a couple more, and then this has got to be it. It looks kind of in the shape of a tavern, and there's a light blue colored shellfish of some kind that's inscribed next to the door. This is probably the teal mollusk. Making your way inside, you're immediately greeted with the sight of Mark in a bib with his beard soaked in crab juices and little chunks of crab somehow in his hair, smashing with a mallet down on some crabs, just saying, "It's so good!" and ripping them apart with Jacob and Aladrin and a horrified Adira.
Yeah, I was about to ask what Adira's face looks like.
probably about the same as Molly's.
Yeah, she is shell shocked. She is just like eyes forward. There's a little bit of rocking. Like she's like, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool.
I'm gonna give Aladrin or Lee a look like, just take care of this. And I'm gonna go grab Adira and drag her outside, and just to get her away from that.
Okay, she seems to appreciate the reprieve. So you guys have ended up at the teal mollusk. It seems like Mark's having a great time. He is still not drinking, but he seems perfectly fine with the crabs. Jacob is eating them as well. I don't know if Aladrin is enjoying them.
I'll go over to the group and I'll kind of be like the Ormus. He told you to come here, right? Maybe you and Fiona could ask some questions, maybe get some information from here.
Yeah. Ormus might not be with us. He's probably still busy. But I'll take the initiative because I think it'll be funny. Ormus goes, yeah, do you maybe want to go loud and just kind of ask everybody see if they've got a fisherman?
It's a little more subtle than that, but
yeah, let's start with subtle, and if we'll pull out our other cards as we need them.
Okay. So Ormus just kind of looks around, nods. It's like, all right, I guess I'll just start going up. He goes up to the first guy at one of the bars and says, "Hey, looking for a good fisherman." And he goes, ah. Well, anyway, they have a conversation. Is anyone close enough to hear it?
Yeah, Fiona will be right behind him.
Okay. It. The guy seems to be receptive to, like, yeah, I can be a fisherman for you. That sounds interesting. You got a boat? We can go out on a boat. Is it you and your friend? This could be fun. Let's party.
I mean, cool.
It's
I
probably not the guy that you want.
that I don't understand here.
Yeah, this is probably not the right guy. Ormus just immediately sort of breaks off. He goes, I think I see a flaw in our plan.
Maybe you should ask the bartender.
Yeah, that was the
Okay. So, to catch you up, Ormus, a little bit, you went with the sort of plan of trying to ask people if they know, looking for good fishermen, and the first guy seemed to think that it was some sort of a come-on, and it got a little awkward, but you've broken away, and now the thought is maybe we ask the bartender if he knows any fishermen?
Yeah, I was probably actually going to do the same thing that I did at the red light or red candle.
Yeah.
Go with that story.
Going up and basically giving him roughly the same spiel of I'm looking for a legendary fisherman that could catch more fish than anybody and at one time and all this other stuff. And the bartender just
Tale
kind
of
of
him living here, basically.
bartender just kind of leans in and he goes, "Is fisherman innuendo for something or like we don't have a lot of fishermen here. We got a lot of pearl divers, but not a lot of fishermen." And before you asked, no, that's not always innuendo either.
Okay, I wasn't gonna ask, and no, fisherman is not innuendo either. It's a gentleman. I heard he goes by the name of Aiden Marston.
Doesn't ring a bell. Does he come in here a lot? What does he look like?
I just came here. I'll give him a brief description of what I know of he looks like.
Do you think one of us, maybe Molly is good at drawing? She could draw a picture rather than minor illusions, so that we could like show it to people and not freak them out.
Or I can turn into him.
That was really unsettling.
Yeah, that just
Looks like this.
Molly's outside with the Dira right now, so
yeah. So Ormus, do you basically just say like, yeah, he's like a tall, dark-haired half-elf?
Give him the description that Lee's given us. Actually, no. Based off what the minor illusion looked like.
Yeah, which is kind of like a tall,
facial features,
dark-haired. Yeah, and so like, do you get really into it? Just like the kind of a hook nose, kind of the like full descriptors.
Yeah, whatever. If there's anything that's possibly like say like a birthmark would be a good indicator.
You're not aware of any birthmarks.
No. I was using that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if he had a bad nose, crooked nose, sideways smile, or something like that. That might be out of the ordinary. That somebody would be like, oh yeah.
go to pictures.
Can I draw like a picture of him or something?
You can try. Yeah.
Not very good at drawing, honestly.
Let's go with the dexterity, maybe.
Okay. Would this be something Lee is proficient in?
Probably not. No. Polymorph definitely, but not you.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. It's flat dexterity.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've done some drawing, but I don't know if it's been like life drawing.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to draw, and it's another to draw a person from memory.
Yeah, Lee's not a very good artist. I think I'll go out on a limb here and say that. I got
You got a what?
6.
Okay. You are well aware very quickly that this does not look like him. And as much as you try, your hand just does not make the shape of that it should be making. You can picture him, but it does not look anything like what you are picturing as you're trying to draw it. And you may be very frustrated, maybe not, but it's It's my hand. I should be able to draw it. I can see it, but it's not coming out.
No, Lee does not have good dexterity in any part of his body. He's lost a lot of the subtlety that you would associate with elves and half elves.
Yeah. As they say, it doesn't look like a horse running. Like it just doesn't. It just doesn't look right. You don't think this is going to be too helpful?
All right, yeah, that makes sense. I figured.
But yeah, your descriptors, Ormus, and the sort of early descriptors of tall, dark-haired half elf. It's like, yeah, that's like half the guys in here. But then giving him more detail, and he's just kind of listening, and he just kind of really thinks about it, and he shakes his head, and he says, "Yeah, no, I maybe, I guess, I don't know. It doesn't ring any big bells. I mean, maybe, I don't know."
During this too, I'm gonna see if like his eyes like shift to any particular area.
Sure. So make an insight check, maybe.
Okay.
See if he's being perceptive, or rather, are you trying to look to see like an actual, to see if he's like looking at someone kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of like.
I would take an
body language.
insight. Yeah, I understood. An insight or a perception.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, if you both can, whichever.
I'll do a perception.
Real quick, what is something with 8 eyes, 8 legs, and 8 hands?
Sorry, what now?
What is something with 8 eyes, 8 legs, and 8 hands? 8 pirates.
Oh my god.
My roll was 24 for insight.
That's pretty good.
27 perception.
This guy's trying to be helpful, but he doesn't really. His eyes don't dart anywhere. He's listening along, and he seems genuinely remorseful that he can't help you more. But he's like, yeah, maybe. A lot of guys come in here. Sometimes they're only in here once or twice. We get a lot of guys that, I mean, I don't really know.
I ask you a question. I'm just curious. Someone were like, what would the big fishing island around here be?
Well, in terms of big, like the ones that fish the most, or big as in like the size of the island?
Yeah, they fish the most.
Well, no, which one? So the smaller ones that fish the most, or the ones the islands? Maybe I'm not understanding.
The ones that fish the most, the ones that do the most, fishing and fishing craft.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I guess in terms of the ones that fish the most would be, I guess by default would probably be Asnella, just because they got more people. And they get a lot of boats. They've got a lot more docks. They get a lot more that sort of a thing. They're more central, sure. I guess if beyond that, the type of fishing. I'm trying to think. If you're gonna put me into it, he just kind of thinks a little bit, and he says, "Well, there are a lot of them that go out of Halter. Halter's to the north. They go deep sea. They go out and get some of the bigger fish. We've got some like swordfish from Halter, if that helps. Yeah, Halter maybe, I guess."
We were looking for more like net fishermen kind of do.
Net fishing.
Single person net fisherman.
Well, I mean, a lot of the guys that come in here are single. I mean, I think that's why most of them come in. But if you're looking for single men who are fishing with nets, I don't know about single. But,
Not in that regard. Not in like relationship status. Like somebody who can go out by himself with the net and just bring back an immense or a suspiciously maybe amount of fish.
Well, I don't know how much fish somebody would actually bring back. I'm not much of a fisherman myself, but
Okay.
in terms of net fishing, I'm trying to think. I really don't know. I to be honest, I haven't even been to all the islands. Yeah, I know Halter. They got a lot of fishing up north, just because I get a lot of my big fish there. I know there's a lot of the ships come out of the Covelli Islands and let's see here, maybe Dornia. Dornia, maybe they've got a lot of lakes. Guys can probably wade out there with a net, I guess. Dornia's kind of more south. Is any of this helping?
I mean, we're getting information, which is very, very appreciative. I mean, it's more information than what we got from the Red Candle, so.
I'm trying to think out of character how to state this question in character and not immediately someone who's looking to kill a certain person. Basically, I'm wanting to ask, like, if anyone's hiding out. What would be...
If somebody was on vacation here, where do you think they would go?
Vacation?
Yeah.
I mean, there are
Somebody
a lot
who
of...
didn't want to be bothered or just be left alone.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some tourism. I mean, there's a couple places that they've got. They're certainly really welcoming. I mean, we're pretty industrial here, but we are one of the large ones. There are some tourists come in. We get a lot of businessmen, and I mean, there's a lot of places that people would go to relax. We're kind of a paradise.
Anything more inland?
What, inland is in what?
Like
on this island?
There. Yeah.
I mean, I guess, yeah, there's... But people live all over the island.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're pretty small. You can walk from one side to the other in less than an hour.
No kidding. Wow.
And then back. Yeah, the island itself is probably at its widest, because you kind of saw it as you're coming in, that at its widest is maybe 2 miles by 1.5 miles.
Yeah, I was just pretending to be shocked by the information he was giving me about that. Not like, yeah, we already heard that. Be like, oh, no kidding, holy shit.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it's not a big island. There's a lot of small islands here.
While you're having this conversation, I'm gonna cast water breathing on myself and Adira ritually while we're hanging out outside.
Why do you cast water breathing on yourself?
So that way, like, we can go and wade into the water, possibly,
Oh, okay. I was about to say, it's like you're just standing out front of a bar with water breathing. Like, okay, you're gonna go into the water. Gotcha. Because, like I said, all of these buildings are sort of facing the ocean, or the sea, really.
I mean, it lasts 24 hours, so I figured I might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Perfectly reasonable. Perfectly fine.
Sounds like fun, actually.
I was gonna say, Fionn, like, if you can't think of a way to word it, maybe you could, like, use your expertise of, like, some ability you have from your, like, specialized prey of bounty hunting or whatever to do it, you think? Maybe, I don't know, what do you think?
You can make a
like,
charisma check, and I might be able to, there's a charisma check might be able to help to see if your character can think of something, or to see if, even with something less tasteful in the description, that it's not so bad than the way it comes out,
I think that's better, because I just can't think of a way to put it other than,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to help
Well,
out. I don't
like,
think it came
Fionn
out the right way.
experience, that maybe we wouldn't, so,
Yeah.
rolling for it could always help.
Would you be able to get advantage with me helping, or just flat?
Well, you're not really helping him with the wording.
Gotcha.
It's just to see if he can think of something to say, really.
So that would be a 13.
A 13?
Yeah.
And your goal is to ask, basically, if someone is in hiding? Or where someone would be if they're in hiding?
Yeah, like what islands would hideout place I was looking to not be found.
Yeah, and that's a reasonable way of asking. Essentially, asking the bartender, like, "Hey, if I wanted to go someplace and not get bothered, not get found, where would I go?" Like it's a fair question. There's a lot of islands. Are you talking about on this island or some of the other islands? We got like 50 or 60 or 80, depending on how you count the size.
Yeah,
Wow.
I kind of just meant the island group in general.
There's a lot of islands that are basically unoccupied, just because you don't really have anything to offer most people. So people go camping on them. But there's a lot of places around here that you probably wouldn't be found unless somebody was really looking for you. But at the same time, eh, we are somewhat close to any of the islands that have people on them. They'll find you eventually. People will run into you. Like I said, everything's pretty occupied. The islands that are occupied are all kind of divided up, but the ones that aren't, nobody will find you there. But if you're looking for a private getaway, yeah, there's a couple of islands that are basically untouched. He says there are usually a lot of the smaller ones. I know there's one northwest of here, and there's a couple kind of on the other side of the chain. There's a bunch of little ones that show up sometimes. There's little breaker islands, but they're a little too small. But there's a lot of islands.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. That pretty much.
Lead. Well, I mean, like it gives us some options to check out some like small islands near Elitos if we have to.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Would anyone else like to ask anything or do anything?
At this point, Lee has also ordered crab and is using his hammer to also break and eat the crab.
Okay. Yeah, they're bringing like trays of crabs out. This restaurant's fairly well staffed. It has chairs. Like, yeah, clearly there's an aesthetic choice here that's very different. But yeah, they're bringing out quite a bit, and using your hammer certainly quite destructive. But
Use my huge hammer. I use like the little crab hammer.
okay, fine,
I
whatever.
can use my hammer if that would make you
No,
happy.
it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. My happiness
Certainly be
doesn't matter.
comedic.
I just imagined Thor sitting at Red Lobster with Mjolnir. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, like full on, but like
Calling down lightning by accident.
full on bib, just like this crab bib, and just everything just crunching along with it.
Wearing
But,
a bib.
Hmm.
Well, I'm wearing a bib.
Yeah, as one should. These are juicy. These are fresh out of the pot, dripping, quite warm and delicious. Outside,
Not make me hungry.
Molly Mort, are you talking about anything in particular with Adira, or just kind of enjoying the sunset?
I will tell her as I sit down to cast water breathing that I am casting it on her and myself and say, well, I mean, maybe we can take a dip later today. There's probably some way we can find pearls here. Well, I wouldn't want to bother never mind. Um, but we could go for a swim. You could practice swimming, possibly, envision being a fish better.
That would be really fun. I would really like that. She's like taking deep breaths, and she's like, I think I can feel it. I like how Molly Moore's kleptomania peaked up a little bit too. Just like, oh, we could probably find some. Oh wait, no, they might not appreciate that.
Well, I mean, in the water, and then she realized that they come from actual creatures that we'd possibly have to kill to take the pearls.
Mm-hmm. Well, either one. But yeah, she's like taking deep breaths. Like, yeah, I think I can feel it. I think I could definitely. It feels good to be able to breathe water. I I've been thinking more about trying to be a snake, and it's hard. I mean, like being a snake.
Yeah, I mean, being any kind of animal is generally hard.
She nods.
I mean, you gotta kill things to eat. Well, unless you're an herbivore, which that's more difficult.
Well,
No matter where you are in the food chain, it's gotta be difficult.
well, even herbivores still kill things to eat. We all have to kill things.
Yeah, I'd just rather, kill the less thinking things that don't feel it as much.
She nods.
Yeah, these guys, they don't. Yeah, the crab and stuff. I don't do that.
I didn't expect the severity of it. Uh, the savagery, smashing them open. I mean, it's one thing to kill them, to have to eat them, but I mean, he was wearing half of the crab. Like literally, he put a half of a crab on his head.
Hear Lee inside smack the table and say, "Delicious."
Yeah, it's like it's. I understand eating, but that's just it's a little too far.
Yeah, I mean, they play with their food sometimes.
She nods, and she just looks out at the out at the water, and it's actually kind of. It's you think that this might be why, as the sun goes lower, how they got their names. The sun goes low enough that just for a little while, there's just it's like the sea is glowing almost as the sun just comes in. It's like a radiant teal for just a little while, and you think that that might be why it's a sort of teal shadow. Is for whatever reason when the sun just kind of goes directly at or just below the horizon, there's just this kind of teal shadow in the water. Anyway, but she just enjoys watching the sunset, unless there's other things of conversation. She's just seems to be breathing the air of the water, and, or rather, the water of the air, and enjoying thinking about being a snake and trying to not think about being a crab.
I suggest to her that we ditch the guys and go swimming.
She nods and just starts running towards the water.
I was gonna say, I figured probably about this. Walked outside and sat on the beach. Not necessarily like very near them.
Yeah.
In their
Soon
vicinity.
enough, you head out, and I mean, Mollymort, are you and her like diving in? She can't really swim for the most part. Like you can. Are you trying to just teach her and help her a little bit along the way? But are you going in a lot, or are you still in a way aware that, or rather, in a way that Fionn would be able to see you?
Well, I'll tell her to hold up to give me a chance to take off my armor. Hide does not do that well with water.
She waits, but she seems like she's bouncing a little bit. Like she seems eager to jump in because it's she just wants to go swimming. Basically, she's like, it looks so pretty. I just want to just dive in. But soon enough, presumably after you've gotten your armor off, you're able to go in. But again, do you try to go like deep in the water, or are you just kind of enjoying the shallowness of the sort of beach as the waves are slowly running back and forth?
I'll try to urge her to ease into it a bit. That, breathing water for your first time can be pretty strange. So just take it slow, don't panic, keep your footing.
She tries to keep her footing the best she can. She lowers herself in, and she sits back up again, and she kind of shakes her head a little bit, and she goes, "Okay, got to think about it. I really didn't want to breathe because like you said, it could be very bad. But okay, just gotta do it. Are you sure it's gonna work?"
Yes, I'm sure it's gonna work. It's just gonna be strange at first.
She nods, and she looks really anxious, a little afraid, but she just kind of goes in a little bit. She's essentially like on her knees, kind of floating in the water, roughly kind of at your height as you're standing. And she just kind of puts her face down, and you can see her kind of back expand as she takes in a big old breath of this salty ocean water, and then quickly exhales and then comes up and coughs a little bit and she's like trying to wipe her tongue a little bit, but her hands are all covered. And she's, it's so salty. I didn't know what I was supposed to expect. I guess, but
Yeah, I guess I guess fresh water might have been better for your first time, but yeah.
yeah. Soon enough, she's just like, okay, whew, okay, and she goes back down again, and then she takes several breaths and basically just starts kind of slowly swimming, basically floating on the surface, basically like surface snorkeling, but without a snorkel,
All right.
which is something, you know. Floating is an important skill to learn for swimming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will kind of give her a little bit of guidance for swimming.
Fionn, oh, go on.
This is an easygoing thing. It's not just me trying to teach her. It's hanging out and just having a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit of a lesson at the time.
definitely, and she seems to be enjoying it because there's just enough light. The water is basically glowing, and you can see through it. Where it's very clear, and these brilliant white sands are glowing currently, essentially almost fluorescent, and she just seems to be kind of enjoying looking through and looking at various things, and she points at a fish that comes out from underneath a rock, and you can hear her bubbled giggle, and she seems to just kind of be enjoying it as much as she can. Fionn, when you emerge to kind of go out on the beach to relax a little bit and get away from the rampant destruction of crustaceans that is occurring within, some sort of a terrible mass murder must have occurred to supply this many crabs. But anyway, as you come out, either Mollymort is giving lessons, or this is the slowest and oddly picturesque drowning that you have ever seen, because Adira has not come up for like a minute. So presumably, I mean, Mollymort doesn't seem worried, and you don't think she's that heartless. So there must be some sort of magic going on here.
Yeah. I feel like I have a decent enough passive insight that I would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's something druidic is going on there. That or again, Mollymort is just taking off one more competition. Like, yep, not going to be another girl in the group.
Druid here.
Yeah, exactly. You brought in another druid girl. Yeah, let's go into the water. Yeah, I totally gave you water breathing.
Take a big, deep breath.
What does it take to end concentration again?
We just trust that Molly has a good reason for it.
Once out on the beach, because in Fionn's head, it seems like we're not going to catch any leads here if Aiden is here. He's hidden pretty damn well. Also, he doesn't want to be inside when his disguise self drops. I don't know if it's dropped already or.
You had a decent meal and then you walked here. If it hasn't dropped yet, it'll drop very soon.
Yeah. So he'll kind of get out of direct sight of the building he just walked out of because everything's facing the beach. And flock of familiars out some seagulls and tell them fly 30 minutes in 3 different directions. Points them in 3 different directions. If you see the guy who matches the description and telepathically communicates the description of Aiden, let me know what direction, and come back to me after 30 minutes.
What direction do you point them off into?
What orientation on the map are we?
North, south, east, west. And you're in the sort of southern tip of that, the sort of discolored section of the large area. And you can see that there's a couple of little teeny tiny islands. Imagine, I know it looks kind of pixelated, but it's all kind of like a smooth pixelation. Each one of those sort of individual pixelation elements, imagine that like being like 100 yards. This is about 2 miles tall and about 1.5 miles wide. And you're at a beach at the very southern tip of it, underneath where the red dot is on the really small one. I don't know if that kind of makes any sense, but that's what you've got kind of going on there. And if you If you look in the game feed, you can still see the sort of whole chain in terms of where you are with the island and where all the other islands are.
Yeah.
You might want to back your mic off just a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. We could hear you swallow. It was a little. Anyway. So, which direction do you send them off in?
Well, definitely south because to south. And probably one would be kind of the southwest. Yeah, the next one over southwest.
Yeah, the closest islands to basically the closest island to this particular town would be, like you said, about south and southwest, although east would be kind of a close division. North would be kind of far, but basically, like, east is probably the furthest, like third closest, but south and west are pretty close to equal in terms of distance.
Yeah, so I'll go south, west, and then tell the third one if it can make it to an island to try, but if not,
It's not too much further. Realistically, it's about 2 miles to the west, 2 miles to the east, 2 miles to the south, give or take a little bit.
yeah, east, south, and west.
And how fast does a seagull swim or fly?
I'm currently trying to find that, but D&D Beyond is challenging.
Why don't they have that right on the front? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Fly speed of about 50 feet. Does that kind of make sense? Anyone have any objections?
That feels about right. What was that, Lee?
I'd probably use ravens. Ravens or crows.
Oh yeah, true.
Because those are in the monster manual and those are familiars, but
Yeah, I'm just sort of going by birds, like different birds. Like there are a couple of different that are pretty similar. I would imagine that are pretty close to what a gull might be going for.
Yeah, ravens have a 50-foot, so I imagine.
Yeah,
the other
I think
bird.
I think that's in the realm.
Yeah.
Let's see here. 50 feet every 6 seconds. The translation of the speed, I got to figure out a faster formula for this. So 50 feet every 6 seconds, like 10 times that in a minute, and 60 times that in an hour, so 30,000 feet per hour. So that kind of makes sense to everyone. So flying at about 5.5 miles an hour, they fly for about an hour. They will be able to get to the islands and then explore a little bit. But that'll take them a little bit of time.
Yeah.
What would anyone else like to do? Anyone else have any other plans, really?
I wouldn't
I was
mind
probably gonna.
time to summon my goat.
Yeah, you can summon your goat, no problem. Do you want to do it inside the restaurant, or?
No, I'm gonna go outside and summon it into the water.
Okay. Oh, you want to bring that one in, or do you want to bring just the full goat, or do you want to take bring in the Capricorn?
I was gonna summon Tooth Gnasher in as the Capricorn.
Okay. So, yeah, you can certainly instantiate that, and Adira is also very surprised at that and enjoying it and observing it from underneath the water, where she is trying her best to swim like a snake, but it's not looking great. I mean, she's trying. It takes every bit.
I haven't seen Tooth Gnasher in a while, so I'm gonna, pet him and feed him something nice, because it's been a little while.
No, there's, they miss you and they enjoy your company, both of them. So, but they understand, they don't feel neglected.
Yeah, but I missed it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm gonna use minor illusion to write underwater in Druidic to tell Adira that it's Lee's goat.
In terms of writing that underwater, it gets a little tricky. I mean, but by what manner? Would you be writing it in the sand, or are you just making hand motions in water?
I figured it would be like I said, using minor illusion. I'd kind of drag my fingers through the water and like leave an image.
Like water bend it a little bit, in this sort of a sense, like distort the water and keep the distortions for a moment.
No,
Or leave like a trail like the Disney Channel.
yeah, or like writing with a sparkler.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you're able to essentially kind of put out the Druidic kind of word for bonded. Like that, if that kind of gets it across, that's sort of a simpler form of, not so much a possession, because some druids are a bit weird on, like, you can't really possess an animal. You can just be with an animal.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate, and yeah, that definitely fits for Lee and his goats.
Yeah, that they are bonded to each other. So, but yeah. Would anyone else like to do anything? What's the in terms of a lot of the progress? They've gotten to the point where they're asking Mark to seriously reconsider the fact that he got an all-you-can-eat crabs special, and that they're vastly approaching or quickly approaching the point that they are at the all-he-can-eat. Like there's other people. Like there's a lot of crabs. Yeah, like if you want to do some math on it, this is dozens of crabs that have been destroyed.
Yeah.
This guy is seriously putting a hit in the population.
Alright, Mark, come on. We gotta go find our boy. We gotta go find the Mark.
All right. So soon enough, he's like, fine, but I could have eaten more. All of you should know I could have eaten more.
Yeah,
I
we know.
totally own the record at the Blue Mollusk.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done. I could have done it, don't you, Aladrin?
Yeah.
That
Come
was
on.
the blue mollusk.
Hmm.
You called it the blue mollusk.
No, he says he's got the record at the Blue Mollusk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The teal mollusk. So it's
This is the teal mollusk. It's a different thing, but it's seemingly related.
Same chain.
It's perhaps a chain.
And we're the Blue Tempest, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. You guys should spend more time there. So,
Yeah.
But he's just like trying to reassure, like, yeah, I'm keeping the bib, but yeah, I mean, I could have, I could have gotten the record, don't you, Aladrin?
Or he broke it.
Hmm.
I think
I was
he
gonna
might
say
have
you
broken
probably haven't.
He did not break it. No,
Oh.
and in fact, with a little bit of effort, Lee, you can see that there is a scoreboard. Once you really get into it, you can see that there is a scoreboard of how many crabs. And you can see that the record is 51 crabs, and Mark was in the 30s. Like, he was not even halfway there. But then again, like, you imagine that to get up to 50 crabs, this guy probably had to work at it a bit. There was probably a lot of effort. They probably, if he's really going for the record, they would probably try to make a crowd of it, maybe. But who knows? But yeah, he's more than halfway, and he seems insistent that he wants to go for it. But oh well.
Well, I'm actually gonna ask one of the people. So how do they go about getting that record? Is it like a contest? Is it just whenever you come in, you try to beat the record, or?
Oh, you just got to eat that many crabs in one sitting.
So, what's the issue? What if he's going for the record? In fact, he is going for the record.
Well, then good luck to him. I'm pretty sure that guy died soon after, though.
Oh, even better. Hey, Mark, you should go for the record.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say, hey, Mark, keep going.
Get
I
that
want
record.
to. This guy, he won't let me drink or eat crabs.
I have reincarnate prepared, just don't have materials.
Oh my god.
Do you let Mark go for the record?
Come on, let him go for it. Let's see what he's got. It'll be fun for him, you know? We're always holding it back.
Yeah, I'll let him
Let him
go
go
for the
for it.
record.
Okay. He says, you know what would really help me?
Get this man a beer.
Oh god.
Finger
just
on
one.
nose, points at Ormus, like, yep, that's it.
Ormus, the
Just one.
Just one
What?
pitcher. Just one. So
Picture's normal for a table of people, but go on, Mark.
they soon bring out a pitcher of some kind of a dark beer. And he just picks the whole thing up and just takes a couple of sips, and it foams up on the crab chunks of his mustache, and he goes, oh, that's the stuff. Oh, good. All right.
Al's been trying to help Mark, and the rest of us are trying to kill him.
I'm not trying to kill him. I'm just trying to let him have fun. Poor
He
guy,
says, okay, bring me all of the crabs. Let's do this. I'm going to break the record.
Oh
and
no, what have I done?
somebody, the person who's been bringing the crabs back and forth comes over and he goes, you know, we'll do it, but we would rather you buy some more crabs. We usually don't expect this for the all-you-can-eat special. Usually it's just 2 or 3 crabs, or 4 or 5. I mean, technically, yes, you can go for it, but
why have the option then?
well, because most people don't do it. That guy bought every single one. Usually it's just a couple of crabs, or there's drinks
Usually.
involved, or do you think we pay for plaques just on our own? I mean, we can, I guess, but I'm just asking if you could just a little
I'll pay
bit.
for the plaque. How's that? Since you guys normally get that. If he breaks a record, I'll pay for the plaque.
Okay, I guess.
You can put it on Lee's tab. Lee's not in there, but I think you can suggest that. Just be like, just
No.
put on Lee's tab.
He just backs up and he reluctantly nods and motions for more crabs to be delivered. A seemingly split between the excitement of being able to say that there's a new record holder, but the frustration of so many crabs going for such a low price, but also the reputation of refusing the all-you-can-eat crab special. It's sacred. He came in during happy hour, he got the special, he's still here, he ordered a drink, he qualifies in every condition. As long as he eats them within the next hour and a half, he's got all-you-can-eat crabs. That's the deal.
It's ironic
Exactly.
that all these crabs are putting them in the red.
More crabs are brought. Destruction is wrought. Mark
Crabs.
asks you,
Cheering his head.
Lee, if you would, since you're the hammering expert, if you would be so kind as to crack open some of these crabs for him delicately.
Lee is into it.
Delicately.
What kind of roll is that? Is that a dexterity or like an athletics or what? An attack roll?
We can go with an attack roll if you want, but the tricky part, of course, is that you don't want to do a lot of overkill on this. Because if you obliterate the crab, it might not count.
Lee's
Take
got-
something.
Yeah.
I like to think that an attack roll also, considers in control.
I think it does too, where it's about the quality of the hit, not necessarily the power of the hit. Yeah.
So just
Shit, if you-
my regular hammer attack roll, would that be all right?
Yeah, that's fine. You're not using a regular hammer, so any extra bonuses that come along from the magic of the hammer, which I don't think you have any, or any damage from the hammer being magical, won't apply, because if you're just using the normal restaurant hammer, it's just a normal hammer. Unless you want to use your hammer.
I don't get anything special from my hammer other than when I crit.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you crit, you're not going to do the same amount of destruction. as you would if you use your hammer.
But I do have a feature called Fell-Handed, and I don't know if this would apply because technically this is a hammer.
It is a hammer, yeah. If you would like to apply it, it is a hammer. Anything that applies to a hammer is applying to this.
It does specifically say hand axe, battle axe, great axe, warhammer, and maul. So I don't know if light hammers count.
No, I don't think it would in that case, no. Since it is specific to that, then no.
It's weird that you can get hand axes, but you can't get light hammers. That is odd. I never noticed that before.
That might be something we might want to look at and balance. What does this feature do?
It just gives me a +1 to my attack roll. If you have advantage on melee rolls, you can knock things prone, stuff like that. If I have disadvantage, I can do damage to them, but only my strength modifier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll look at that another time. But in this instance, if you want to use it, I'll allow it, I guess. Yeah, but either way, you're going to have to make a roll.
19? 11 plus 8.
All right, an 11 plus your proficiency. You're able to bring this in just a little careless, but not so bad. And you're able to just punk and crack it, and it breaks into a couple of different pieces. And you're able to kind of pass them over a bit more to Mark, and Mark's able to crack them a bit more and slosh it all in there and take a big sip of the large pitcher of dark ale. And he's able to
I'll
just
remind
kind of
him that's the
keep
only
on
picture
going.
he's getting.
He nods, and he just continues to kind of chew through the mush of different flavors and says, "Yep, I know."
After that, it's
And
water.
Lighthammer
Lee-
isn't.
Go on.
Sorry, Lighthammer isn't listed on the feat, but for some reason on D&D Beyond it's counted.
Yeah, I think we would count it. It makes sense that it would apply.
Okay.
If they have hand axes, then it certainly would apply to a light axe or a light hammer, I would think. So, Lee, does your aura offer anything to Constitution saving throws?
That's a +3.
Okay, you are going to be a secret weapon for Mark.
No.
And he rolled a 1 the very first try.
He has my aura of courage too.
What does that offer?
All it does is it prevents you from being frightened, but we kind of used it for the fun of it.
When he was intimidated by a dragon, yeah. But in this,
I just like to think it makes him feel confident.
yes, and he feels very confident. In this particular situation, he probably shouldn't have felt super confident. Around crab 36 or 37, it's tough to tell. He takes a big gulp of the ale, nods, sits up, pauses a moment. He brings the crab up a little bit, brings it back down to the plate, up to the mouth, down to the plate. Says, "I don't feel too explosive vomiting. Just
Oh well. You did good, buddy.
Damn.
and immediately the guy that was bringing all the crabs goes, disqualified. He's disqualified. You can't do that."
All right. I'll take out a gold and give it to him for his trouble.
He goes, "Thank you. If you would please." And he kind of makes a shooing motion to Mark.
I pick him up and I start to carry him out under one arm.
And Mark goes, Jacob's on under the other arm, kind of helping out. And Mark says to Jacob, "Could have done it. I could have done it. Oh, I could have done it."
I like to think the goats just. Oh, go ahead.
I guess we can take on crabs of giant sizes, but not massive quantities.
Yeah. I like to think we
It's
just
all about
pull
quality,
Mark
not
outside
quantity.
and throw him in the water.
You think that there could have been a time where Mark was a really good competitive eater, but he is just not trained right now. He is out of shape for eating 50 plus crabs. But no, he crit failed right away. So nope, he failed.
I think we just I think I'm just gonna toss Mark in the water to clean him off.
That's fair. He just kind of floats there a bit.
And I did leave the goat outside, so the goat can play with Molly and Adira if you guys want.
I'm sure that is definitely happening.
Yeah, and I will, cast water breathing on everybody once everybody's out, particularly on Mark and Jacob.
You definitely you cast it, and you think for just you might have thought for just a moment before you cast it that maybe you should definitely cast it, because as they put Mark down, he's just sort of floating on the water. He stinks. He's a mess. He still has the bib on. Some of the crab chunks are floating out. There's an odd color to the water around him. It's somewhat darker and smelly, but he doesn't seem to give up. But when the breathing occurs, you can see his chest rising and falling. You imagine that he was just holding his breath before, or perhaps just daring himself to take a breath of the water without water breathing. But yeah, you're able to enjoy the post-sunset beach in this paradise island, essentially surrounded by nature and beauty, and some stars are rising. The moon is rising. Not a lot of stars, but good portion of them. It's pretty good. You don't find any comfort in the knowledge that you have found the person you are looking for, because you have found absolutely nothing in terms of a hint or clue that would definitely point in his direction. But you never know. You at least had a good time, hopefully, doing it. And many of you had a good meal.
Can I deny getting water breathing? I'll just kind of shake my head because I want to do my daily swimming.
Sure.
Yeah.
Shit, I'll turn into a snake and start swimming in the water.
Scare the crap out of everybody.
No, just
All
well,
right.
I mean, the pedestrians probably, but hang
I'm-
around Molly and Adira.
I might have pranked a few people while just me and Adira were out here if anybody came along.
Mm-hmm.
13. So I think that I'm just going to blame it on the fact that I did just eat a bunch of crab.
Yeah, well, you ate a bunch of crab after eating a hearty bowl of stew with a bunch of crackers.
Then I went swimming without waiting an hour.
You didn't even wait 20 minutes. Like
No,
you just went right in.
I'm just getting all kinds of cramps.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but overall, it could be a lot worse as you just sort of enjoy it. And again, you might think to yourself that it could certainly be a lot worse as you look at your friends having fun splashing in the water, or possibly thinking of why can't I drown right now? In the case of Mark. But
Oh, Mark. Oh, good. Mark's in the water. I'm gonna screw with him.
oh, geez. Anyway, so next week
I won't.
I am on vacation, so I will have to skip next week. And
Okay.
Yay for vacations. Those are
Yep.
fun.
All right, have fun.
well, are we going to be available for the 5th, the week after? Everybody good?
Yeah, it should be good.
Yes.
That'll be good.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, wait, I might be traveling. I don't know if I'll be traveling on that Friday or if I'm going to be traveling on that Saturday.
Okay. Well, let us know when you know.